I'm not there yet.
Okay, I'm going to start the stream now. I'll put it on the starting soon screen, even though I've just put it on the us screen. I fucked up. It's okay. It's okay. What I've tried to do, Al, is try to make the minimum effort broadcast technology as possible, so that we just jump straight into it. And there we go. It works. It works. All right. Just as a way of starting, Al, I just want you to know, as a Yorkshireman, you'll be holding me to account. I do owe you lunch. And I'll never forget that I owe you lunch.
It's all right.
It's not okay. It's not okay.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It all works out in the end, mate. It all works out in the end. But that was a good lunch. And we actually, from memory, we did the interview in their original room, which was a general store for the cowboys and what have you in the 1890s, remember?
Yeah, yeah. It looks sick as well. A little cheeky bit of voice isolation gets the fountain out of the background comfortably. And that's my way of saying you've made the edit, by the way.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Right, hang on, let's fix this bit, and then I'm ready to go. But anyway, just to give you sort of a bit of an introduction, if anyone's watching who wasn't here last week, we've done like a deep dive on Earache, on as academic as we can make it, and try and understand the last 20 years of the label. And we thought, who better to talk to about this than your good self, Al? After we talked about Roadrunner for so long, I thought, what? We don't even need to structure this as strongly as you may do on some other deep dives. With those, we can just sort of like pick what we want to talk about and just dive in.
You ask, and I'll do my best to answer.
Thank you. Did you manage to read the AI synopsis of last week's?
I did. I read it once when you sent it originally. I hate reading lots of text on a phone because I had a PDF reader. I'm like, that sort of thing. Yeah. I got the gist, the crux of what you're asking, and I reviewed it this morning just so it's still fresh in my mind. But wherever you want to get started, let's do it, man.
So what was your instinct like when you read through it that one time? Was like, these guys are full of shit. They haven't a clue what they're fucking talking about. Because we did sort of like make assumptions of like.
From an outsider's view looking in, I thought you had some good stuff in there. Some of it was way off the mark. What was it? Old Lady Driver's Low Flux Tube was the smallest selling record of all time. Is that?
Formula was my recommendation for that.
Formula was a brilliant record.
It is.
It actually did pretty damn well for that thing. My accountant once told me it's all right to release a record that sells, say, 1,000 copies or 1,500 copies, as long as you budget that it's going to sell that. If you're like, this is going to sell millions and let's go, and it sells 1,500, that's a huge failure. But if you're like, you know what, it'll do 1,500 and it sells 1,500.
And it did 1,500s, yeah.
It probably did more than that. But, I mean, put it this way, I can't think of any examples off the top of my head, but we've definitely had records where we've recorded it and we're like, and with the band, we're like, you know what, here's your master's back, cheerio sort of thing. So we've had a couple of them. We have had a couple of misfires that just sank without a trace type of thing. But in general, you know, it's not always like, well, we got to sell 1 million records. It's not always about that at all type of thing. And really, by rights, no disrespect to Napalm Death, but they were almost seen by the music industry back in 86, 87 as a joke or a novelty, and yet they've had a career for 40 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, on paper, that should not work. It should be verse, chorus, and singing songs and happy, cheery bits or whatever. But by rights, it shouldn't have worked, but it has, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate your response on the Old Lady Drivers stuff, and I said I champion that band still a lot, and I really think that they're bubbling under for rediscovery from from a different generation.
They were so far ahead of their time.
They were. Yeah. They really were. Totally agree. So yeah, I'm just waiting for them to blow up in the new generation. It will come.
Yeah, I believe Alan works doing soundscapes for TV shows or movies now or something. I don't know what Jim's doing, but Alan's doing really well in the TV world, which is great to hear.
Yeah, good stuff.
Now, so
Yeah.
so just for my way of introduction.
So where do you want to start? Go on.
When did you start at Earache then? I want to say something like 91 or 90.
It was right around 90. I came to the UK. I'm originally Australian. Came to the UK in 86 and backpacked all around the UK. Ended up staying with John from Concrete Socks and his girlfriend for a week. They were like, hey, man, no offense, but if you want to stay longer, we just had people from Japan. We got people from Italy coming next week, but you can stay with our friend Dig. And I already knew of Dig via his ads in Maximum Rock and Roll. He had like a little mail order called Earache at that point. It was just punk rock records, whatever. I think I ended up staying 3 or 4 weeks with him. Went back to Australia, determined to save up money and move to the UK to be part of the industry. And I thought of all the places I went to around the country, Nottingham for me was like, that was it. Cheaper than London. It was more smaller. Like you get your head around. I mean, London as an Australian at first was just like, where do you start? Like it's so intimidating and daunting sort of thing. But being in Nottingham, you could get to London on the train in an hour, 45 minutes, 3 hours on the bus, whatever. So, and you know, you're an hour away from Chef, you're an hour away from Brum. So I thought it was pretty good. So I saved up, took every shit job I could, saved up money, moved in 89. I stayed with Dig for a couple of weeks then before getting my own place. And he's like, dude, you should, you know, because I had the world view. I had pen friends all around the world and everything else. He said, you should come work with me. And so I think around 90, I started. But I remember the day I arrived, he took me to the print shop because they were getting the grind crusher layout on the go, sort of thing. That was the day I arrived in Nottingham. So that's sometime in 89. May 89, I think.
Right. So we're definitely capturing, in terms of the scope we were covering, we kind of just like, we started out talking about the Columbia deal, but we're really in earnest in terms of how the label's transformed. We started kind of in that thrash revival bit. But while we're here, can you answer my queries about that Columbia distribution deal? How it came about?
Of course,
what was it? Was it an open door, closed door? Was it a two-way door? Why didn't Columbia was there an option on the table?
Here's how I recall it. We were doing pretty damn well. We were with Combat Relativity. I mean, before Relativity, American distribution was regional. Like you'd have Midwest, you'd have West Coast, you'd have like, and Relatively sort of gobbled up all the indies and became a nation. Like, what a concept, nationwide distribution. But the country was so big, historically it was divided up into chunks. They were doing really well with our stuff. Let's say Entombed, Left Hand Path, Carcass, Necroticism, maybe they're doing 80,000, 85,000 units. And that's like a couple of fanzine ads, print up some posters, give them to every mom and pop shop in the nation, and it's just selling. You know what I'm saying? We were riding a wave of something that, and you know, to this day, I'll go around the country and people are like, dude, I heard fucking blah, 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 it blew my mind, it changed my life. Because they thought like, yeah, Metallica, that's heavy. And then they heard Morbid Angel and Napalm, they're like, oh, forget it. You know what I'm saying? So without riding the wave of that, at that point, Columbia did not have a Metallica or a Megadeth or whatever. They needed an extreme band. They're like, we don't really understand this genre of music, but if these idiots from Nottingham can do 80,000 on, you know, a dollar's worth of marketing, us, the big Columbia, we can do so much better. But the genius of the deal that Dig and his lawyers sorted out was, hey, we'll license you our best titles, but you got to help bankroll a standalone office in New York.
Right.
And that basically, they paid, I think, for 18 months, they paid like the rent and staff salaries, whatever, which helped us set up a standalone operation in the US. So if you look at that time in the 90s where the majors were gobbling up all of the indies, I don't really know the Sub Pop guys. I've spoken to them a few times on the phone, but it took them years and years and years to get back on an even keel, just in the nature of their deal and what happened. Whereas us, there was a few bumps afterwards, but it basically got us set up in America. So you can't go, you know what, that was a terrible deal or that was a waste of time or what have you.
The goalposts are different.
Yeah. But there was a situation where there was, I mean, for example, they wanted Fudge Tunnel, a free piece. I mean, they never said they were grunge. They're like, we're American noisecore or whatever. But the majors are like, well, that's like 3-piece, and it's kind of like Nirvana, right? So other bands are like, well, why aren't we on? We should be on there. So there's a few noses put out a joint, but it was a good experience. And for me, to this day, going in there, there's 550 Madison Avenue. I forget how many, big New York skyscraper. But if you go to the ocean and you're watching, like, there's a guy in a powerboat and he's just zipping around doing 360s all day. You see one of them big ocean tankers or whatever, they go in the wrong direction. It takes like a day to turn it around. And like, for example, at Columbia one day, like, hey, Al, you want to go get some lunch? Like, lunch sounds good. Like, what do you think? Like, Chinese? All right. So, all right, let me send out a memo. I was like, yeah, we're going to meet Al. We're going to go meet on the 17th floor at 12. Like, all right, change your plans. We're going to meet on the 19th floor at 12:30. Like, dude, whatever, I don't care. Like, oh, no, it's 1 o'clock now. Like, all right. And then it took like an hour just to figure out where we're going to meet for lunch. So you can imagine for them trying to put something in place and get the momentum, it just takes way longer than it does at an indie sort of thing. We're smaller, but we're more nimble. We can move faster, react faster,
See, I was last week kind of commenting on that as a consumer at the time, getting into Earache Records bands, and that.
But you weren't living in the US, though, were you?
No, not at all. But I think it still gave me the perception, because I think there was an element of budget that came with it in terms of marketing and music, music videos and the types of marketing that was being done around the records. I
think I mentioned it before, but written into our contract was video budgets must be a minimum of $45,000 and up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And as a consumer, we could see that. So the Carcass Heartwork video, for example, made them seem significantly bigger to a consumer like me than maybe the video that they did from the necroticism. You could see that that change, so it's interesting to hear that.
And while we're sorry, because I was doing the technical gremlin stuff. Beardo is like the hardcore, like he's the hardcore Earache guy. He's like Mosh One, so on and so forth. But now it's probably
me and him have chatted on Insta a bunch of times.
We have numerous times, so it's good to finally have a chat face to face, really. So
indeed.
Just talking about the Columbia experience, Al, it might be worth just telling us the story about the tennis match.
Yes, the TV programmer at Columbia had a tennis match with the MTV program director. They're playing tennis, and he goes, I got this band Entombed from Sweden. I tell you what, if I win the match, you have to play the video. It's like, okay. And that's how they got on the air. Over a tennis match.
It's just interesting because it tells you a couple of things, because normally the experience with a major, I call it interventional partnership, is an absence of sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? An absence of interest, right? Like the Chaos AD story is pretty pertinent there, where they go through Epic, and then the following Monday, their big champion at Epic has left the building. In this case, we've got a guy who's saying, oh, we've got some extreme metal that we want to push, and we're also going to do this sort of like in the old, almost like the 80s business way. It feels like that was more of a partnership rather than just we're going to arbitrarily expand the roster.
I know it's cool to rag on the majors, but there was some very good people there, and they did do their best. But I don't think their infrastructure at that point was set. It was set up to cater to, like in the 90s for you lot would have been like R Price and HMV, and the indies like, we don't want to deal with like ones and twos and different stores. We just want to ship like 40,000 to you, 20,000 to you, that type of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't want to deal with the indies. And that's where our market was at that point. I don't think the average underground metal kid was hitting the mall at that point. They're going to the mom and pop shop sort of thing,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not, and again, as the context of this conversation, not to rag on majors, it's still a young industry, and it's new music in a young industry. So people are still trying to figure it out, you know what I mean? But were there any of the artists pissed off by the Columbia arrangement? Not to try and drag anything out. I'm just curious as to anyone, because
from memory, the one that really, I mean, we could just do a whole Zoom on Columbia. I got 100 stories for you, but from memory, the only one really was Bolt Thrower, because they were on Earache proper and not through Columbia, and they felt they deserved to be on Columbia. But we were of the idea that isn't it better to be the big fish in the smaller pond where all the staff are rooting for you and pulling for you, versus like, well, wait, what? What is it called? What thrower? What? You know what I'm saying? Like that type of thing, you know? An example was one day Dig and I were standing, I don't know what floor we're on, 21st floor, whatever, and this kid came by with a box of CDs. He's just handing them out. And he's, here you go. I said, we don't work here. We're just visiting. And he goes, no, I'd have to, my job is to give you one. All right. And what it was the first Rage Against the Machine record, like 3-4 months before it ever got released. And his job was to work the building. They have to get everybody in the entire building pulling in the same direction before you release it to the general public. Sort of thing. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
Was there a selection process on the bands that were considered most suitable for the deal?
Great question.
In general, it was the biggest and best sellers, except for Fudge Tunnel. Fudge Tunnel was because grunge was hot and they wanted the
grunge option. Yeah, makes sense.
All right, cool.
But the other caveat to that conversation is, as we were negotiating that deal, management at Morbid Angel, they didn't know that, because I don't believe in talking about deals until they're done. Say, hey, we're going to do this, this, and this, and then it doesn't happen. You're like, hey, what happened? You told us it was going to happen.
Yeah.
They negotiated a separate standalone deal with Giant, which is Irving Azoff's label at the time. And they went through there, for better or for worse. So, I mean, that was with our blessing, and we signed off on it all. But that was the only one that went that way, where we all went that way, kind of thing. You know.
Right.
But to this day, I mean, it's 30 years later, and I still talk to Trey once a week. Talk to Morbid Angel's management. It's all good.
Yeah. I mean, you know where I'm coming from on this stuff, Al. I'm just like, when you talk about Relativity Combat, I was like, I'm thinking back to the doc and all the stuff I did with Alan Becker, and like Digby comes up, and all like the Nuclear Blast guys come up, and it's like, it was like there was no structure, so it was regional, and it was the only way you could do it, because these guys were the only ones who knew. Okay, as you've said, the Morbid Angel fan isn't necessarily going to the mall. This is the way it's going to happen. So that's why my head's always residing in deals and what people think they can do. Here's an analogy, right? If you walk into my house, you'll see a bookcase, it's like a wall-to-wall bookcase. And what you should infer from that is Jim had an idea once upon a time that he was going to read that book. Whether he read it or not is irrelevant, but they had an idea that they were going to read it. And it's that kind of mentality that kind of prevails through the music industry as well. But anyway, that's just the foundation of all these dumb questions, in case I'm boring you to death.
They're good questions.
So was this 18 months flat? Was it a longer term that was pulled? Was there an acquisition option on the table?
I think they were hemorrhaging money. For example, I won't go into full specifics, but say, for example, Carcass Heartwork, which I think to this day is a brilliant record. They spent probably close to $1 million on marketing that, and they probably sold 5,000 or 10,000. I mean, it sold more over the years since. Like every year it sells. But they probably sold, say we did 85,000 as an indie, they did 95,000, but they spent 10 times what we spent, sort of thing.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. But you did have to buy the rights back at the end at that point.
No, all the rights reverted back to us, but they had fulfilled their contract to us,
right.
And Columbia was like, we want Carcass. Do you mind? Like, will you guys be offended if we offer them a deal? And we're like, no, go ahead. By rights, their deal's done. They could shop anywhere. They went to Columbia Sony, and they made the Swan Song record. I'll get to that one in a minute. But they made that. But during that process, they're like, we're going to get a woman to dress you guys. Like, what? Like, yeah, you're going to have flares and spangly waistcoat. Well, I don't know, whatever. But Jeff and that were very offended by that.
They just opened up Cathedral's wardrobe and just said, "Help yourself." Like,
but that said, I'm sure Lee and Gaz probably willfully dressed themselves. You know?
Yeah.
And they knew what they wanted, sort of thing. But there was that, and then they're like, "Jeff, you got to get singing lessons." And he's like, "Excuse me?" Like, Earache's never told us that sort of thing. So I guess with all the pressure and the money on them, the band imploded. And at that point, Columbia's like, "Well, we can't do anything with this. Let's sell it back to Earache." So they sold it back to us. But a quick side story on Swan Song. I mean, I know guys who love everything Carcass do, and I know guys like, "Dude, the first two records, the rest suck ass." And as I've said 100 times on Instagram, whatever, we got hate mail when people heard necroticism. People like, "Dude, I wanted a Carcass record, not Poison." Like, you know, like it sounds nothing like Poison, but to their ears, it sounds like, you know, they've sold out. Then, of course, with Heartwork, we got the same thing. But well, I moved over to New York in March 2000, and it was an office in the front, and the warehousing was in the back. And my sales guy took me in the back. He's like, "Right, here's the cassette, here's this, here's that." There was a whole wall of Carcass Swan Song product returns. And he goes, "That will never sell." I mean, there must have been 10,000 there. He goes, and he points, he goes, "That will never sell." A year later, like, remember when metalcore came out and everyone was stealing out the Gates riffs and everything else? A year later, he goes, "We need to press more. We sold out." Like, the next generation of fans are like, "I only like Heartwork and Swan Song." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's fans like that era of Carcass, and there's fans that like the early stuff only, and there's fans who love it all, you know?
The love that Swan Song gets in 2026, like, makes my heart sing, because I love that record. It's just a great record.
And it's also just a natural progression. It wasn't like, "Hey, we're on Columbia now, we better write some pop music or something," you know? It was just a natural progression, you know? And I mean,
they tease a few Swan Song bits live these days.
Yeah.
And they reel me in, and they never bring it all the way out. You know.
Right. I'll have words to Jeff, mate. But I see Jeff every American tour, you know, and they're still killing it, you know.
Yeah.
What's the headcount at Earache at this point? This is always the thing that blows my mind, like how small these companies are.
I think it's about 13 or 14 in Nottingham, 2 in London, 1 in Germany, and me in the US.
Fuck it. It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy, just the amount of momentum that 15, 20 people can actually gather. But at the same time, it's an easier conversation because everyone can pull the boat in the same direction because you're only selling the idea to 20 people. And I imagine where's Dig at this point? Is he like, because from a young guy starting a tiny label to this point post Columbia deal, is he like a natural born leader at this point? Is he still very much just
the easiest answer is, to this day, it's still Dig's vision. It's still whatever he's excited about, you know. If you think about it, he was a punk rock kid, loved Siege, got into, you know, his 2 favorite bands were like Slayer and Discharge. And that was basically the first 10 years of Earache, whatever, is any sort of offshoot or permutation of that, you know?
Yeah. And that's going to come into play when we sort of move into the 2010s. Anything about this period, Beardo, you want to go into? I think my main thing was the Columbia deal, obviously.
Well, I really like the sort of 96 kind of rebranding of Earache Records when, you know, you came away from
the naive stuff, or
and you came away from the spiky logo and
Coca-Cola logo.
And there was an obvious change in. Maybe in the signings, you started to sort of branching out to more kind of the electronic type stuff.
Yeah,
industrial strength as well. The industrial strength era always really interests me.
A quick story on the industrial strength era. If you think about grindcore, a lazy description is punk ramped up to the 100th degree. What is death metal? It is, you know, there's heavy metal, there was hard rock, then there was heavy metal. Then there was thrash metal, right? You know, that, well, look out. Death metal was like, "Oh, you think thrash is extreme? Hold my beer." You know what I'm saying? They became more extreme. So in Dig's mind, the industrial strength stuff was dance is big, techno is big. This is the most extreme, brutal techno you've ever heard in your lives.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, I'm a guitar guy. It wasn't my cup of tea, but learning about the scene, everything was great. We hit a lot of underground raves. We went all over Europe with this stuff. But we did the industrial strength compilation. We had TV ads. We had the counter boxes when you go to the shop and there's a rack of, now that's what I call music or whatever. We had counter boxes. So Dig and I flew to New York. We got all the American stuff at that point, and we did a full presentation. Like, here's how you do it on TV, and this is what this is and that is. And the head of the label at the time goes, that's all very well and good, but this is America. This is never going to fly here. I refuse to release it. And Dig's like, dude, it's my company. Do as I say. Like, do as I say. Follow the blueprint on marketing, promotion, whatever. And if it fails, that's all right. But you can't say no. And sure enough, by the end of the year, he calls up. He goes, "It's the best-selling record of the year for us. Can we get another one?" You know what I'm saying? Like, so I mean, I get it. At that point, rave culture in America was way smaller than it was in the UK, sort of thing. But we were definitely. It did feel
very very European, I suppose. And again, I can sort of speak to myself from the UK angle. Terrorizer was always very good at covering kind of the more esoteric, industrial, and whatever. So it seemed like a natural transition to me. And obviously I was a consumer of extremity. So I'm like, you've got the Prodigy, you've got Jilted Generation, you've got Chemical Brothers, but Earache Records is still releasing the heaviest version of what dance and electronic music could be. So for me, I just was lapping it up. And
well, you know Earache, the Berserker from Australia, right?
Yeah.
When they first come out, there was some ignorant people like, oh, you're just like you're copying Slipknot, whatever. But what happened was Luke was a drummer by trade. Loved his extreme metal, whatever. His fate. I mean, you talk to him. What are you listening to? Carcass. Anything else? No, just Carcass. That's how. To this day, he's like that. But he had a bad car accident, could no longer play drums, so he got into programming and working on beats or whatever. And to make some money, he was DJing in techno clubs, but he didn't want his mates to walk in and go, "Is that Luke? Fucking Luke!" So he used to wear a monster mask, and that's where it came from, sort of thing. But but he just organically, as a death metal kid, got into the extreme side of techno from that,
And that again, that was kind of a natural transition for like the Scorn guys and Justin Broderick, So Earache already had that, and to me, because I was, fan of Earache, fan of that kind of esoteric stuff. When you're
all in, you're like, I'm going for the ride.
100%, yeah. And I always I loved the rebranding at the time, like because it kind of reflected to me where I felt the label was going. So,
but if you think about it, I mean, I forget now what the first Old Lady Drivers record was, but it was definitely below Mosh 10. We've always had a left field, crazy experimental aspect to the label. But, I mean, I've traveled places like, what do you do? Earache. Like, oh, yeah, grindcore, death metal. It's like, no, we've got this other stuff too. Like, grindcore, death metal. So it always kind of got overlooked. So there was a deliberate effort on our behalf to try and bring those guys up to the same level as, say, a Morbid Angel or Napalm Death type of thing.
And was that Dig just kind of, was that coming to him, or was he going out to find it?
That was just him being excited about it.
Yeah. And I think we had that thread through our conversation about whether Dig is actually the visionary of, so maybe I'll segue back to you, Jim.
You said the naughty word though, Al, that's going to get me excited, which was blueprint. What was the marketing blueprint at that time? Obviously, I'm very on the Roadrunner side, what they always did. And like that, the amount of things that Case couldn't have enough pies. He needed all the pies to put his fingers in. What was the Earache version of that?
For each release?
Or I suppose if there must have been an idea of where you guys knew where your strengths were, sort of early 90s, mid 90s, late 90s.
Well,
and
no, I tell you one thing. I mean, Dig doesn't remember this conversation, but me and him were sitting in our office, and maybe he had a German metal mag, Rock Hard or whatever in his hand. And the say, I'm not picking on Nuclear Blast, but say it was Nuclear Blast, full page ad, death metal, death metal, death metal, and you couldn't read any of the logos. And he's like, I want to be more than that. I don't want to be in 30 years doing death metal, like drop 6 releases a month. Which one's which? You know what I'm saying? Like I want to, and you were talking about on your PDF of questions. One of the questions was acquiring stuff like, Skindred is an established act. Let's acquire Skindred. We picked those guys up as Dub War in 94 and 95. Yeah. And that was our first sort of dabble at trying to crack something in the top 40. I think we hit 41,
Still.
So that was 30 years ago,
Crazy. Yeah. I'm quite prepared to skip to the thrash revival stuff and start.
Yeah.
Yep. So my story there was I was raised in Halifax, so obviously Evil were just next door, and I used to see them when they were Metal Militia. And then I remember I was getting a driving lesson, and my mate called me and said, "You got to pull over." I'm like, all right. Mid driving lesson to say, Evil had been signed to Earache, and it was like, whoa, local lads that could. And then as the press starts wrapping their arms around them, and you start seeing them in print more, you realize, there's a whole like raft of these bands, and there's a thing going on, and Earache's behind it. Was this like a targeted? Right, this is a cyclical thing. We're gonna get new blood on this with.
Here's the story. When I first moved over to New York, we were distributed by Caroline Distribution. If you pick up any of the early Misfits records, it's all Caroline Records on the back. We were distributed by them, and one of the sales girls there was a girl, I think Tracy Wilson was her name. I don't remember quite how we met, but it'd literally be, there was a nightclub it was a sunken tugboat that had been sunk for 100 years, and they pulled it up, dredged it up, and turned it into a nightclub. It'd be 3 a.m. in this nightclub in New York, and be like, "Oh, hello, Tracy." Like we just meet at random spots around the city. Like, hello. And eventually she got transferred to Richmond, Virginia as a sales rep. And one day, 2004, whatever it was, come to work, completely steaming hangover, and there's a box like sitting on my desk. What is this? What is this? So I open it up, and it's like the suicidal tendencies with the painters caps with that go up, and fanny packs. What do you call them? There, bum bags, whatever it is. Cassettes, vinyl, CDs. I'm like, what is this? And it was the first municipal waste. But they sent me as much merch as they did music, and it was a letter from Tony. And he said, my friend Tracy, we're drinking in the bar, and I was commiserating going, we really want to take it to the next level, up from 6 Weeks Records. And the problem is none of the metal labels will take us seriously. And she's like, you stop that right now. Send a box to my friend Al. He will get it immediately. Because that's, like, to me, what I grew up on, like, DRI and COC and all this sort of thing. And I put it on. I'm like, I'm all in. So I sent copies to Dig and Dan in the UK, and they're like, we get it, go for it. And that's what sort of started the whole thing.
Right.
So it was Tracy Wilson.
Tracy Wilson is responsible for that whole thing then.
That started it. It wasn't Dig and it wasn't me.
Is it the same for, what was it, Bonded by Blood, Gamma Bomb?
Yes.
Eval? Was that like was it spotting that there was a revivalist thing happening? Or was it just organically, we just like...
Well, I mean, to me as an old fart, seeing kids who are 18, 19 in skin-tight jeans and the big white basketball sneakers and, cut off denim vests again, I'm like, hey, this reminds me of being 18. This is brilliant. So we had every one of those bands hitting us up, sort of thing, And I like
and it was you did create, it was a spearhead of a movement again. And was that something naturally decided, or did you say because Municipal Waste started, like you say, the bands were contacting you? Was there a deliberate kind of let's go down the thrash route? I
think it was a bit of both. It was other bands like, well, what labels would be interested? Well, what about Municipal Waste label? Let's submit our stuff there. So it was 6 of one and half a dozen of another, you know?
Yeah. And I would agree with you. The Gen Z kids, there's more denim and white high tops and battle jackets and stuff now. So
well, Dig said he went to download the most recent one, and they have that merchandise alley or whatever you call it, and he said patches. Every stand sold out of patches. Everybody wants some battle vest patches. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Municipal Waste, though, they're still one of my favorites. Absolutely.
Well, I feel they've even, I mean, there's writing great riffs and there's recording great records and making great videos and all that, but they've got the stagecraft now. Like, they are so on point. They have the Toxic Waste things with the Return of the Living Dead type punk zombies hanging out. They literally have dance moves they do. It's all tongue in cheek, but they've got sections where they go into prearranged dance moves, and they're top of their game right now, And
as a Dave Whitty fan, I would just lap up anything he did with any band anyway. So it's just natural that I would enjoy Municipal Waste for whatever he did, really.
Yeah.
There's something about. I mean, I went to that Maiden show a few weeks ago, and the Darkness was supporting, and I fucking love the Darkness because of their similar stagecraft. They're so impossibly comfortable in their own skin, and they have been since the beginning. It was sort of weirdly uncompromising. And Municipal Waste is a similar. It's like Dragon Force, Darkness, Municipal Waste, very different bands, but they are so sold on their own vision that it comes across on stage, and it's a beautiful thing to behold, and it's good that the momentum is continuing in that direction for those guys, because it always needs to be like a low stakes. There needs to be low stakes metal. You know what I mean? It's just like, I know that people call it like pizza thrash or pizza metal, and I'm like, I get that, but you got to start listening to it on its own terms, right? And I think that's what carried them beyond perhaps the rest of that revivalist sort of roster, if you will.
I think you're right.
Yeah. Okay. Now,
what do you got?
What have I got? Early 2010s.
Yeah.
Rival Sons as a Planet Rock thing happening. And can you just take us on the journey from that moment, from that to sort of where we are now?
It's really easy in one way, and that is, as I said, everything on Earache is pretty much Dig's vision.
Yeah.
He started off as a drummer. When in the early days, Colin Richardson would come by, Morbid Angel would send the new album. I'd be listening to the riffs. Be like, oh, listen to that drum beat. Oh, what about that? Like his ear naturally went to the drums first. Then, as it progressed, it was the guitar riffs. Like, oh, that Jesse's playing that riff, crazy. Oh my God, what a riff, and all that. It was only after we started doing we did a whole bunch of new wave of heavy metal, White Wizard and bands like that. It's only then he's like, singers, instead of just growling, the voice is an instrument. So it took to 2006, 2007 for him to start thinking about singers. And with the power of YouTube, we found Rival Sons. I think it was a video. They're playing with 40 people in the back room of a pub in Long Beach, California. And I reached out to their management, and it was a hard sell because if you did a quick Google search, it'd be like death metal, grindcore. Like, why do they want us? But the way I see it is, I was just saying moments earlier, thrash came from heavy metal, and heavy metal came from hard rock. Hard rock came from classic rock. So it's almost like we went back to the start of the progression type of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So again, it was very organic. And of course, once we had Rival Sons, we got Blackberry Smoke, we got the Temperance Movement, and we're off to the races,
Now, here's the thing.
Yes, go on.
This is where I feel like Earache as an entity, as a company, as a force, we're looking around. Streaming's taking off. Spotify's taking off. You guys do a deal with Spotify, which we can talk about slightly separately. But it feels like from this point, you pick a different battlefield, right? you're not just throwing a shit ton of money at the streamers like a lot of these other companies are doing, either at the behest of their parent companies or otherwise, but you're not competing to be sexy. It's a totally different game.
Here's the thing. When I was analyzing the numbers on the first Rival Sons, it was literally 50% streaming, 50% physical. And I called up Gerardo, who was head of Nuclear Blast America at that point. And I'm like, what are your records? What's the split? And he goes, dude, it's 90% physical, 10% digital, 95%. So we were way off. And everyone's like, wow, well, you did that to capture the crowd that buys vinyl or whatever.
Yeah.
It was actually the opposite. It was 50% streaming sort of thing, you know? But, I mean, we can get into Spotify and YouTube and Apple Music and all that, but the day Spotify opened the doors to indie labels, we were like, we're all in. We're embracing it, you know? And I think we spoke about it when we had lunch. During the Napster days, which destroyed the industry, we were like, well, what's the way forward? Like, we were doing stuff like, we'll give you the full album for free. Just give us your email address, because like maybe you'll buy a T-shirt later.
That's Gamma Bomb, isn't it? Yeah.
We did a Wormrod as well.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So we tried that. You know, we tried everything, sort of thing. Now I would say, you know, it's probably a third physical, a third streaming, and then a third just merchandising, whatever. That's the three pillars that hold up the company, type of thing, you know.
Are you spending a shit ton on marketing on, say, Meta? Or are you focusing elsewhere?
We're spending a good amount of money there, but the genius of that compared to, say, marketing a record in the 90s, you book a full-page ad in Kerrang, and you go, yeah, coming out, Carcass and Turn, blah, blah, blah. Like, did that have any impact? How many sales did we get from that? I got no idea. Whereas Meta, you can go, right, 1,000 people clicked on this ad, and, you know, 900 of them went to the thing. Some bought this record, but some went off and bought another. Like, you can see from there to there, you can see the whole
click-through metrics. Yeah. And have you? I mean, do you see that that's basically changed people's buying habits in general? I'm always.
I've been on record for other interviews, but as I said, we were one of the first to embrace streaming. But it's in this day and age, because it's say 2004, whatever Napster was, it was like, why bother buying the CD? You just get it all for free. But other people, hang on a minute, you know, like I want those. You know, you can have 100,000 songs on a hard drive, and you walk in like, well, was Al into music or not? But you walk in and you got a backdrop like yours with all, like, oh, I see you like music, mate. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like that's just so our attitude is, if you want it for free, God bless you. Go get the free program on Spotify.
It's still there. It's
there. But if you want to buy the record with 14 different color variations for you to hunt down and collect and whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And X amount of kids like that, and you know, I think Jim said, oh, you're preaching to the graybeards who, you know, are so stuck in their ways to buy vinyl, but at least a good 33% of vinyl purchases now is kids.
Yeah,
you know, 21 and under brigade, you know.
I was surprised that you're saying it's a third streaming, a third physical, and a third merch, especially with those damn crows metrics that came from last year, which was something like 199 units of streaming. The rest was like pure retail. Were those numbers legitimate, or did I pull them from out my ass?
From memory, I think you're probably right.
Yeah. What drove that? Is it because this can't be? This isn't the good money on Meta, and this isn't the one page in Kerrang. There's something else, isn't there?
I tell you what it is. It goes back to the old days of music industry, and that is that they did the work. You know, they slogged their guts out and they built up the fan base.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think they were like at least 2 records in before they signed to us even. You know, you start off playing the Free Man and the Dog in the back room of a pub, and you come back and the word spreads, and you come back again and again until you can do 1,000 people in each town, you know?
Yeah. How did you manage to get, you know, the Skindred success, was that last year or the year before?
Both.
Yeah. That's dedicated effort as well. I'm just trying to figure out. It just feels like there's more grassroots relationships between Earache and against what everyone else is doing, which is, and again, I'm privileged to know this stuff, kind of not as a consumer, but as someone who has to speak with these people every day. There is a shit ton of money going into playlist placement, and there's a shit ton of money going in to those relationships. And I just don't feel like Earache. I just feel like Earache's gone completely the way and gone, we need to harbour the relationship with the radio. And the difference there is obviously because when you have your radio relationship, they're signing PRS forms. You don't have to take a hit to get onto the discovery queue. You know what I mean? It feels more grassroots, and I feel that's what happened with the Skindred thing. I feel that's what's happened with Rival Sons as well. You know, I feel it just... I don't think I'm full of shit. I feel like it's the Earache artists that I hear about more in the car than I do on, say, my YouTube subscriptions.
Right. Okay.
Do you know what I mean? I don't. But obviously, being in the US, it might be a different experience. It might be I'm just getting a very UK sort of tunnel vision.
No, I mean, you got to think though. Again, we were talking about distribution earlier. It's only in recent years that America has had nationwide radio.
All right. Okay.
Satellite radio, Sirius satellite radio. Before that, it was regionals. You know, Chicago. You know, L.A. You know, whatever. It was all regional radio before that. You know. But that said, Americans probably drive more in their cars than Europeans do. You know.
I think this is the interesting thing as well, because I never give radio any credit in the UK, but then I think every time I think of Planet Rock, which is like the main one. For me.
But think of Earache, the original Scum. Dig sent, I think, 8 promo copies out. One was to Stephen Wells from Enemy, Seething Wells with his pen name. Put him on the cover. One was to John Peel. And kids sitting at home listening to John Peel just, you know, blew their minds hearing it because it was just nothing else out there at the time. So even back then, radio was important, you know?
Yeah, I definitely back then. I'm talking more like in the modern times. I mean, I think it's primarily, if you're a rock fan, it's going to be Planet Rock, the local DAB, which is Absolute Rock, and it tends to go out regionally. And there was Team Rock a few years ago. Can you tell me about the distribution?
There's also BBC Radio 2 and Radio this and Radio that. And we've had supporters at them for years and years, you know.
Yeah. Just to bring it back to something I asked before, what's the head count now?
At what?
At Earache now. So before it was...
Well, I answered that.
Oh, is it the same? I thought I was asking about the 90s.
Oh, the 90s. We probably had 5, 6, 7 in the US.
Right.
I mean, the thing is, what we do now is... You know, one record might be a yacht rock record. The next one's a grindcore. The next one after that's like a countrified rock record. We use different PR teams and different publicists for those because each one's a different skill set. If you're just doing death metal, you have the death metal radio in-house guy and you have the death metal PR guy. It's easy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No. That makes sense completely. Because normally there's. Obviously, dealing with the same kind of roster of bands with the Roadrunner world, there's 4. There's 4 that people are going to because they're the same people that have been doing it for the past 30 years for those artists.
Correct.
Can you tell me about the distribution company? What was it? Earache Digital Distribution. How has that changed the way that you're putting out these artists?
Well, a lot of the ones I've spoken to who have done that, just being under the Earache umbrella has opened a lot of doors for them, whether that's band endorsements, getting on tours. You know, we're an Earache recording artist sort of thing. It's definitely like a stamp of credibility to a lot of people. But, I mean, from the day I started, we would just get demo. And most of them, 90% were just terrible. But some were decent. And you're like, well, we can't. I mean, our thing as a label is we always try to focus on quality over quantity. We wanted the best death metal band, the best grindcore band sort of thing. So they're like, well, maybe you're not the best, but you still deserve a shot sort of thing. And so we'd have to pass. Actually, going back to the 90s, we did Wicked World because we were trying to sign bands and they're like, oh, Earache's calling. Yeah, we can't possibly get out of bed unless you give us £100,000 type of thing. And then with Wicked World as an imprint, like, hey, we really like what you're doing. It's a small imprint. We've only got a small budget. $5,000, okay, $5,000. Oh yeah, I'll sign right now, sort of thing. So that was almost like they call it in baseball like a farm club. It was a way of investing low but giving people a chance. And out of those, Hate Eternal and Decapitated rose up the ranks to be on Earache proper.
Yeah,
where some of the others, I mean, FL Duaf, which was one of Dave Whitty's favorite bands on the label, they made 4 records for us or whatever. Very great records, but purely cult. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, incredible.
Yeah, so
I did like that sort of slightly Wild West era of Earache, where you never quite knew what you were going to get. And there was the 7-inch series as well, where so you had
New Bomb Turks and Coalesce.
That's it, Coalesce. Like, you know, people sort of overlook that Coalesce started on, or were more widely known on Earache Records, and it was that kind of like slightly scattershot, you know, take a punt on things, smaller, and you never knew what you were going to get. And it's interesting how you sort of align that to this Earache digital distribution, you know. And if I look at that from a consumer, I think something that we're possibly missing in today's world is compilation, you know, type stuff. And you know, have you considered that in the modern era? You know, taking that Earache digital distribution stuff, and
we're working on 40-year anniversary plans, and I'm like, let's do a retro reprint of Grind Crusher. There's one or two on there that rights have expired, so we can't. But I'm like, throw a Wormrot track on or whatever. I mean, really, for my day, a compilation was a discovery tool. But now you've got like what's that band he was talking about? What was Jim saying? And you just go on Google or YouTube and they suck or they're great, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So YouTube's kind of taken that discovery tool thing out. But I did push for a repress of Grind Crusher type of thing, you know. But I've seen people like, dude, the first record I bought was Corporate Rock Wars. The first record I bought was Gods of Grind. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, my two were Earplugged and Corporate Rock Wars, which I still listen to today on a regular basis. So yeah, but it's funny because I always have that kind of, I'm still in that mid-90s mindset, and I'm like, being a kid today, you know, being exposed to like Earache Records stuff. I think one of the points I made is outside looking in, I think Earache is a bigger label in the sort of the world, I suppose, than it would have been in what I would deem, you know, it's sort of peak era, I suppose. But actually, from a business level, you're probably a much bigger label today than you were back then.
That's fair. Yeah, but I mean, we're what, nearly 800 releases now? You know, we were like under 100 or right around 100 when you joined, you know?
Yeah. But is that true from like a sales and just general sort of recognition kind of side?
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. I mean, I would say that anecdotally, I think pure recognition, I'd say Earache Records is, you know, more out in the wider world these days.
But I post 2-3 times a day on Instagram, and you post, say, a picture of Bolt Thrower, and people are like, oh, it's really sad. Earache hasn't done anything in 30 years. The rest of the glory is like, whatever, mate. And then you post a picture of like Yachtly Crew, and be like, what the hell is this shit? You know what I'm saying?
You can't win, can you? You can't win. I totally agree.
You do you, I'll do me, whatever. You know, just do your thing. You know.
Still 100%. Sorry, continue. Go on.
So if we listen to anybody but our own instincts, we would have packed it in 30 years ago. You know.
Yeah. Agreed.
Also, that pendulum swinging back. Everyone knows the text on the screen is just like the loud minority. That's all it is. You know, no one cares.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Still 100% independent.
Yeah, I think there's only us and Metal Blade right now. Everyone else is part of the machine. Yeah.
Metal Blade distributed by The Orchard. So there is a Sony link, but it's not.
There's a link, but we're distributed by Universal, so there's that. You know, but last time I saw Brian Slagle, he goes, I'm sure it's the same with you lot. He goes, but every 6 months we'll get someone like, hey man, we'll give you $60 million to sell out. And he's like, you know what? That sounds really good. And he goes, I wouldn't know what to do with myself. He goes, this is my life. I live and breathe it. And Marcus sold Nuclear Blast, and the guys there were saying he would turn up and go, oh no, you're not packing this packet like this. You're not, and like, oh yeah, the poster you made it, you wrecked the poster. It's like, what are you doing, mate? You sold the company. Jog on, you know?
Yeah.
You're not there anymore, sort of thing, you know.
Yeah.
When I spoke to
so the last time I saw Ace Vessels, he said my biggest regret was selling to Warner Brothers. You know?
Yeah,
he started the label because he was basically unemployable because he was such a wild card. He didn't fit into the corporate thing. Is, well, screw you guys. I'll go make my own fucking label. And, you know, boom, he did a fantastic job. But last time I spoke to him, he's like, I wish I never sold out, you know?
I found out so much more about those earlier days, like the transition between when he worked for RCA and like the first Roadrunner band to be signed was a Christian rock band called Eternal Rock, and then just fell off the face of the earth. All sorts of mad shit.
He had like children's records. He was just grabbing anything and hoping it would stick, you know.
Oh, yeah, I've got it behind me. He did language tapes, like German language tapes and things like that.
Right,
it was it's fucking bonkers, absolute bonkers. But where was I going with this? Oh yeah, when I spoke to Brian, he said Brian doesn't know anyone that sold their company, whatever their company is or was, and didn't regret it. Everyone's always regretted it. You know what I mean? But with this in mind, and this is possibly a dark devil's advocate question, but does this retire or die with Dig? Because he is such the visionary with it. Is there a succession plan, or is it just, hey guys, just make sure your pensions are topped up?
Yeah, he'll do it till the wheels fall off. You know, there's no like, I mean, I think if he sat on the beach, he'd be there for about 2 days and just be like, all right, back to work. You know what I'm saying?
What does that mean for the brand? If he does like think, yeah, I'm retired now, does that just mean fuck it, Earache, smash it into subsidiaries, everyone fuck off and do what you want to do, or is it like we'll handle that crisis when it happens?
No, it's never been discussed. No idea.
Interesting.
Is there anything that Dig is kind of, is he still in that? I can see really love what's happening over here. That you know, is there another pivot in Earache Records' life still?
I was gonna close out with this, leave it as a cliffhanger for you, but I'll bring it up now. We just signed a Swedish death metal band. So back to death metal again. They're doing a gig at the Malmo Death Metal Fest this weekend. That's all I'm saying. I'm sure you could figure out at some point. But so we're back to death metal. You know.
Wow.
And no, actually, I don't want to spoil it. We'll talk about that later on down the line. So yeah.
That's an hour, chaps. That's all my tinfoil hats.
Yeah, you must know. I think there was one or two more, wasn't there? There was one or two more you wanted to. We address the fans who buy physical. My
presumption was that you were focusing on like a 40+ market.
Right,
and the focus was on retail, and streaming just wasn't a priority. But as obviously, without disclosing numbers or things like that, it's more of just like, this is just how the roster's naturally inclined towards this 3-pillared approach.
Yeah. But I mean, again, it's very much just whatever Dig's excited about.
But the thing that I'm always trying to interrogate is like, why does it work? I mean, and there's no binary answer to that question, but here's
the thing. You can't buy enthusiasm.
This is it.
You know, like we've hired some PRs and like, it's all right, I guess I'll do it. It's like, no, you're not getting the job, because unless you're like, oh my God, this is the best band ever, and I'm going to fight tooth and nail until they become a household name. And you can't pay people to do that. You either feel it or you don't. You know what I'm saying?
It's an authenticity thing. And if the guy at the top is saying, I'm enthusiastic about this band, it also means that he's going to fight tooth and nail for him, which is a material difference from this thing is happening and I quite like this band. You know, there's leagues between those different mentalities.
I mean, we've Jim and I, we've worked in well, I still do work in corporate financial kind of backgrounds, and there's very much something about having a leader at the top that actually believes in their product, because it gets everybody motivated, as you've said. You know, you want to follow somebody that actually believes and has the vision and is excited about what they're delivering. And I think that's really reflective in Earache's longevity. You know, Dig just is constantly excited about what he's doing next and is standing behind it and brings the enthusiasm, essentially.
It's the difference between being told that Skindred are going to play Wembley or going and doing it, right? It's if you feel like something's happened to you, it's not as good as happening for you. You know what I mean? That's kind of, I don't know if that makes any sense, actually. I should probably find better words.
But also, too, the other thing is that enthusiasm's infectious.
Yeah.
You know, if you're stoked, you're going to go and tell 2-3 of your friends, like, oh my God, I just discovered this new band. You got to do blah, blah, blah. You know, you got to listen to them, you know?
Yeah. I'm just looking at my list.
Hey, Jim, Diggs just texted me. Do you want to add him?
Yeah, sure. If I can, actually, you know what? If I get rid of this image, then yeah. Hang on a sec. Shall I just? If I can you forward on the link to him?
I'll text you his email.
I'll have to get rid of this. Let's remove image 2 and see if that doesn't break the world. And then if he joins, it should then just go into a 4-piece bit.
All right, check. I just texted. Yeah.
I could have guessed that email.
Yeah. Well, I meet people, and if I don't have a business card, like, what's your email? Like, Alan Earache. Like, oh, how am I going to remember that? Like, really? Really?
Okay, he'll be with him in a couple of minutes, unless I can force this out.
Right, let me just text him. Invite. Sent.
See, this is live and raw. So that's what we love about it.
Yeah.
All right, I've just texted him that you've sent him, and you sent it by email, right?
Yeah, it's. I've got a rule on my outbox where it sits in there for like a minute and a half and then fires out.
Gotcha.
So it will be there in a few moments. But I think we in terms of like my list of BS, I'm pretty sure we could. A&R shifted from gambling to acquiring. It's you've touched on that. There is, especially with the Skindred example, you're already there with Dub War.
Yeah.
And also you mentioned earlier, you're not signing, 10 bands a month like Roadrunner did back in the day or anything like that.
Century Media, we actually did that. We looked at Century Media Nuclear Blast. Every two weeks they'd have 4 new releases.
Yeah.
Well, like, man, we're a bunch of dumbasses compared to them. We got to do that. So 1 year we did 50 releases, and whatever our volume for the year was the exact same as every other year, but we just sold less of everything because we just
reduced over 50 albums.
Yes.
Yeah.
My theory,
and then you're paying for mastering plates and art films and everything else. So we'd rather just focus on 10, 12 a year and just give them everything type of thing, you know?
I think my theory on that was always because the label wanted to manage the relationship with the distributor as look, we've got loads and loads of product for you. Look at all this opportunity and viability coming out of us. Obviously, if you're in an operation where, let's say, the top table rotates every 2 years and they move on, that's sustainable. But if you've got Alan Becker, who can see it over a 10-year period and say, no point throwing all this product out if it's not gonna yield a return, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I know, for example, the band Kiss, they're on an indie called Casablanca in the 70s. And actually Kiss, Bowie, Alice Cooper, you look at all of those guys, every 9 months there'd be another record. I'm like, oh my God, they're so prolific. Like, they're unstoppable songwriting machines. It wasn't that at all. It was like, we need another record so we can go to the regional distributors and get another check. They force the bands to go in, like, quick, write some more stuff because we need to get money to keep the company afloat,
What's the thing that frustrates you most about the modern world then, in this sense? Because I've been trying to dangle out some things about people throwing money at the streamers when it feels like bloat. Is there anything that I'll give you one that the guy from Undeath told me about? I'm one of the guys from Municipal Waste. They said a lot of the tours you see these days are favors between managers. They aren't actually like orchestrated.
It's always been that way.
Yeah, but then
look at the early days. Here's Dig. All right, Dig. Sound mate. Connected audio. Yeah, but go back to Sun Records in 1955. They would do tours with Jerry Lee Lewis, Elvis Presley. It's always been.
Guy from Undeath told me about. I'm one of the guys from Municipal Waste. They said a lot of the these days are favors between.
Are you on the YouTube one as well, there, Dig?
Wait.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah, but then
there we go.
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I've just clicked it. We got room for a little one here.
Yeah, but go back to Sun Records in 1955.
Who's playing it in the background? Someone's playing it in the background.
Not me.
Guy from Undeath told me about. I'm one of the guys from Municipal Waste. They said a lot of the these days are favors between.
I think that's you, Dig.
The YouTube one as well, there, Dig.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Well spotted.
Yeah.
Sorry. There we go. Still going.
Sorry.
That seems okay.
Okay, now find the zoom now. Fuck.
You're all good.
Thanks for making room for me. Yeah.
No.
I was watching. I was the viewer. I was one of the two viewers, and I'm like listening to all this stuff. I'm like, wow, this is my.
He's like, that's not right. What's he saying that for? That's not true at all.
I need to come in and set the record straight. Yeah.
Well, no, I didn't want to crap your style, but it was so interesting. I'm like, wow, you're asking all the great questions, and because we've got the Earache 40th anniversary, I thought it'd be a good chance for me to show my face and have a little chit chat. And
well, you hear what Theo said? He goes, "Bring back compilations, mate."
No, but they're Spotify playlists now, aren't they? That's all.
Being honest with you, as a diehard Earache consumer and fan for a long time, just having this opportunity to speak to you guys has been great fun. So thank you so much to come and speak to both of us. So.
No, thank you very much.
It's all good. Thank you. Cheers.
Yeah.
By way of introduction, Dick, I'm Jim. I spoke to Al a few years ago for the Roadrunner documentary. He was representing Earache in that regard, and your in the other corner is Beardo, who's Mosh One effectively. And our thinking was we wanted to do a deep dive on Earache, just like tinfoil hats on, not really knowing any numbers or substance, and going, right, let's try and understand this company, because it's more, in my sort of take on it is it's morphed in a way that a lot of the independents or smaller metal labels haven't morphed, especially in the last sort of 20 years, especially in the advent of streaming.
Deliberate morphing. I mean, this is what I really wanted to join for, because I really liked and respected the way you didn't just slag us off like, oh, you used to do death metal, now you suck now. You actually appreciated the morph into the pivot, as you called it, a good word, into industrial hardcore industrial techno, which was the 90s thing. And it is all to do with, as Al explained, and as you correctly guessed, I'm just a fan of music, and I own the label. It's 100% independent by me, and I just do what I like, really. I do what is fun, to be honest now. And I see the word fun a lot to Dawson. We turn down a lot of bands if they're awkward or, they're right up our streets, but they're not really easy to work with or whatever. There's a lot of things behind the scenes that go on, but it's not really about, we don't really copy what other people are signing at the moment. I mean, the idea, Dawson mentioned it, so you got a scoop here. We have signed the Swedish death metal band literally last week. They're playing the Malmö Massacre Fest, which is on Saturday. We're really excited about it because it is a pivot back to we're pivoting back to the beginning now. And
is that something deliberate, or is it just that you literally you've just heard that and you're like, well, I really like this. I actually just want to put it out. And I know you get these little sprinkles into like extreme metal with it. You did Insect Warfare, I think it's about 2008-ish. Worm Rot, which is still doing absolutely incredible. So, and I love that there's still that little, you know, dip into metal every now and again.
Just dip in every now and again, yeah.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Full-blown Swedish death metal band, brand new band. They're literally, there's a backstory to it. I need to tell you a little bit about it, possibly. It's basically, it's an unexpected band that's, how to explain it? How to explain this? It's kind of, if I told you that the main member of the band has remixed Taylor Swift and has, appeared on the Weekend tracks, and Bieber, and Sheeran, and who else? Maisie Peters and Pink, and basically it's one of the biggest pop producers in the world doing a death metal album on Earache.
But his roots are death metal.
But he's long hair, death metal beard, and it's like, I don't know if you're aware that some of the biggest pop producers in the world, I only discovered this at the beginning of this year. Some of the biggest pop producers in the world are actually metalheads, and we've sort of gravitated towards them. Really good friends with them now. And
you look at Jonas Ackerlund, you know, Bathory into all of the pop music videos that he did, Madonna and The Prodigy, and you know, so there's definitely history of that kind of,
Yeah, so that's what makes it interesting. It's like literally one of the world's biggest pop producers, or part of the pop producing team, really, that is making a death metal album for Earache. They're recording it, whenever, once it starts, after they play Malmo Massacre. And we've heard, they've got some crazy ideas. They're making some promotional merch, T-shirts that yesterday they were just shooting shotguns through the merch to make it more holy, more authentic, if you like, that they basically blasted their own merch to make it fashionable and kind of all stringy and all that. And
back to that kind of like Wild West of extreme metal of, you know, and actually Earache has been one of the labels that kind of pioneered that stuff with like the, you know, blood-filled vinyl and, you know, all sorts of weird and wonderful things that you've put out over the years. So it's, you know, going to be fun to see kind of what comes out of that for.
I think it goes down well. So it's brilliant. It is brutal. It's like unbelievable. And I need to also I also mentioned that the death metal band is connected to Ghost as well. So Swedish, and it's not Tobias Forge's band. But Tobias Forge drew the logo for the band. So that's as much as I do know. It's kind of connected to Ghost, but it's adjacent to Ghost.
Yeah. Beardo, I was at a Ghost show in New York, and I saw some of the guys from the band Nature, NATUR, that we used to do. And I'm like, what are you doing here? And like, we used to go and hang out with Tobias before Ghost happened and all that. He was a big fan of their band. So he puts them on the list every time he's in New York.
Yeah.
You know, Tobias used to have a death metal band called Repugnant.
Yeah, Repugnant.
Before Ghost. And he sent me a demo. Actually, have you seen the Earache book? 35 years ago.
I have. Yeah.
Right, so a lot of this story's in there. It's a true story. It's all through there. But I printed his letter that he sent to Earache. It's small in one of the pages, and he goes, "Hi, this is Tobias from Repugnant. I'm really influenced by bands like whatever, Bolt Thrower and Carcass and whatever. And here's my demo." And I didn't reply to the guy. And he asked me. Well, I did an interview for his School Bangers Ball that he had Vanessa Warwick. He's back on the scene now. You know, the actual host of Headbangers Ball. That well done on shouting out Vanessa. She's brilliant. She was really important to her back then to give us a lot of. She gave us a lot of. She didn't need to, but she gave us a lot of space on the program. Morbid Angel, Carcass, and all that. Entombed. But so we rejected Repugnant, and then he asked me the question through Vanessa, why did you reject Repugnant? And I'm like, mate, I think you sent the demos in 96, 97, and we were over death metal at that point. Well, I was. Yeah. Literally, that's really all it was to it. Well, I was doing Dog War, Miserable's Company.
But you also missed out on Ghost, remember?
Yeah, Ghost, man. Ghost was. We let Lee Dorian do it.
That was Rise Above, wasn't it? Yeah, who picked Ghost up. Yeah.
We nearly did the Rise Above label, you know. When Lee was starting his label, we had talks with his manager. Here's one you don't know, right? If you want to learn some little factoids.
I love this shit. I'm sitting back.
Well, how mad is it, right? We did Napalm Death, right? Lee Dorian was the singer. and then he quit, and then wanted to do the heaviest band, slowest band after the fastest band. So we did Cathedral, and we carried on and did Cathedral, did like 7 albums with Cathedral or whatever. And during that period, they had some American guys join the band. They were formerly in a band called Repulsion.
Yeah.
Many, many years before, where we also did the album with. But that was on a sub-label, so we actually lost the rights to that because we didn't get it all signed up properly. Like the one that I let slip through the net there. But so the guys from Repulsion joined Cathedral, and they appointed a manager, right, called Paul Loseby, a behind-the-scenes guy. There was just a manager of Cathedral and Repulsion. Look him up. He's still in the scene. He's now the manager of Pink Floyd.
Wow.
How mad is that? I actually died out on that story. The Pink Floyd, the biggest, most important band in the rock band in the world, or one of them, it used to manage Repulsion and Cathedral. But during that era, Lee said he started his label. I think he did an SOB 7-inch split with Napalm or whatever that I let him do. And then, well, why don't we do it through Earache? Because I was into letting people. I mean, I did the thing with Jeff and Bill from Carcass. That was Necrosis. Mm-hmm. You know, letting people do labels through us meant I could spread the sort of A&R a little bit. I enjoyed that. It was good. I didn't have to make every decision all the time. And he was going, I'm going to do Rise Above Records. What was the first records? Compilation, Doom compilations, I think. Can't remember what they were called now. And but then we couldn't agree a deal because it was Paul Loseby. I guess he won't mind me saying that he's basically a tough negotiator. Very, very tough. But I think I'm pretty tough.
He actually invented Monsters of Rock as well, didn't he? Which became Download.
Yeah. Also, look at the first ever Monsters of Rock poster. Rainbow. Who was it? The very top says MLP, I think it's Morris Lewis Promotions or something like that, and Paul Loseby Presents.
Wow.
We found that out because Kerrang did an actual poster in the magazine.
Reprint.
A reprint of the first ever Monsters of Rock poster. And we all talked to Paul Loseby in Cathedral at the time. And we're like, Paul, mate, this poster in Kerrang's got your name at the top. That can't be you, can it? And he goes, yeah, in a previous life.
Actually, it was me. Yeah.
It was me. I was the biggest promoter of rock and metal in the UK. You're like, really? Wow. The guy, I don't mind bringing him up, but he's a pretty cool name to drop, I think. But he's gone on to Pink Floyd now, so that was cool. But yeah,
bigger things,
before they find Ghost, we didn't negotiate with Rise Above to do. We couldn't do the deal properly, so because he's a tough negotiator, so we didn't get Ghost. Would have been good to do Ghost. Finally got the connected to Ghost death metal band. Apparently he's doing a death metal album as well, but soon. That's news for you, I think. But
we're getting some scoops here, aren't we?
Yeah. We're getting loads of scoops.
Sorry, Jim, you go.
I have got a question. Well, I've got the expertise in the room. So, one thing we were discussing as part of the Roadrunner thing, as I was speaking to Mark Shapiro from Ipecac, and we sort of agreed that the most important decision an early band makes should be G Suite or Microsoft Office, because if you're at that point, it means you're taking it seriously. So my question to you guys is, how have the artists changed this century in terms of wising up about the industry and how they conduct themselves and how they professionalize their act? Have you noticed since, say, the 80s and 90s, there's a little bit more savviness around them, or do you think there's still like a deer in headlights window, like almost like the anti-honeymoon period, where they need to figure out what they are and how to work as a business?
Wow.
I would say,
you go, Dawson, what? But yeah.
I was saying, speaking from my perspective, a lot of bands are still fairly clueless and naive, not in a horrible way, but I think the key takeaway is everybody is much more open to direction now than they were in the 90s. In the 90s, people were like, well, you're not the boss of me. You can't tell me what to do. And now they're like, all right, dig an hour, say, do this, and we got to do this. And they take it on board much more.
I think we've earned the respect of bands, really, that want to sign. We do offer different deals nowadays. Everyone does. You can either license with us for 10 years or less sometimes, which means that it's all in the hands of the artist. But they have got to at least create an album at that point. That's actually beyond a lot of artists to actually make an album that's worth releasing, and like killer track listing, killer production. It's actually beyond a lot of people having the finances just to make an album. You can do a demo type album, which a lot of people do, but so they have to license it to us, or sometimes they just have a full-on old-school traditional record deal, which is actually still more common than you think, because people want to be on Earache, and that means they can be on Earache in different ways now. An old school deal is still around. We do sign bands like that. Multiple albums worldwide, copyright deals they're called, where we own all the copyrights. You get other artists, even brand new ones, that have they read how to be on the industry on Instagram, which is basically don't give your masters away, don't sign to anybody, control your own career. Nobody cares more than yourself. And in a way, it's sort of right. But that way, you've got to have a lot of connections and resources. I mean, our main prowess is our mailing list, really. That's how we're charting albums at #1. The secret is, I've been collecting email addresses since the 90s. You mentioned early on that I was proud of the fact you mentioned earache.com was online in 94. Correct. We were one of the first labels to be online. Never mind.
I think we were second after Mute.
Yeah, Mute was on.
Yeah.
And we hired the guy Kel, right? It was like I think his friend
Eugene.
Yeah, Eugene Butcher's friend, who's still going now. He does Vive La Rock magazine. He had friends. It's all, yeah, we didn't, you know, somebody knew that did websites for major brands. Was it Kellogg's?
He did doing Kellogg's cornflakes or the
Kellogg's brand website, 94. And his next one after that was Earache.com with, you know, our bands. We just have a little newsletter and stuff like that. But I think very early on we were selling, we had a store on there. We had to use, what was the web store? Like Webcart, whatever it was, primitive shopping cart software. But I've kept the email addresses even after DMCA, what it's called. You know, it's hundreds of thousands of email addresses I've got. The people who buy albums, they buy blue vinyl.
I don't know if you heard the whole interview or not, Dig, but Jim was asking about, because the other labels focus more on paying off to get digital placement. I always feel what we do is we go straight to the fans.
Yeah. I mean, there's a thing now. I mean, the Instagrammers are full of, you know, playlisting, going viral on Instagram was 2024, 2023, how to break big. I mean, going viral now is a waste of time. Bands that just choose the viral moments. There's what's that? There's a female artist that had 2 viral moments. She can't even play anywhere because her virality was not about the music. So the people that are online that give advice to new bands, the word they use now is maximizing superfan engagement.
Yeah.
It's like the new thing. And we've been doing that since year dot, because the DIY ethic is still in us. And we maximize our mailing list, gets all the blue vinyl, the colored vinyl, you know, we spend loads on meta ads, but mostly it's direct emails to receptive fans who want to buy from us. I mean, it's actually harder than hell to sell anything online, but people just lap up. They're selling out our yellow vinyl, the orange vinyl. If you go on our store, it's a true reflection of and then they put them in the charts with pre-orders of 10,000 plus in the UK. It's like that simple.
It does feel very, very kind of, I mean, as a receiver of the emails from the mailing list, it does still have that vibe of, you know, direct connection, essentially. You know, it feels very Earache, or the style and everything is just very direct. And, you know, inevitably it works, you know,
they talk about the Instagram algorithm now rewards authenticity, and you don't need big cameras, big lights, go to a location. They actually, I mean, the guy from Instagram actually says you're as good as anybody with a ring light and a tripod. That's it. That's all you need. And like, and authenticity comes through. And
how does label A&R today kind of compete with the accessibility and democratization of like DIY bands? So you've got Bandcamp, you've got, you know, you've got bedroom bands just uploading their stuff to Bandcamp. Do you worry that you miss out on, because obviously you can't listen to everything, you know, it's impossible. Do do you seek bands out that way? Do you find that it's changed the kind of the approach?
Well, no, finding out bands is when I want to mention something about Bandcamp. I think I'm not quite sure if it's still indie only. I think it is that.
I think it's not quite. Yeah,
I don't think the major, because that's how you can tell if any record labels aligned to a major. Like Orchard is part of Sony. We're part of Universal, but we're nothing to do. We're not owned by Universal. We're just distributed by them, strictly distributed only. So that's why we're on Bandcamp. But if you're saying how do I find out about bands? I mean, I'm on Spotify constantly all the time.
Right.
YouTube. I'm literally looking for new bands. My radar antennas are going crazy about new bands. I mean, there is a crop of new bands in America that are blowing up. A new pivot that's imminent. We haven't signed any yet. The young bands playing the hottest brand of new rock, not new metal. And it's we're already tuned into it and trying to sign some, and that'll be the next pivot. So basically, I'm just flicking through Spotify, reading reviews. I do a lot of that. When people give 10 out of 10 to something, I'm normally not as many magazines left or online sources. I'm kind of tuned into that. Check them out, and I check them out on YouTube. And most of the time, they're already on a label. To be honest, literally everybody's already on a label. We're not the only game in town, and we kind of pick our signings very wisely. We don't. We're not in any rush. We actually prefer. I mean, the Bites. We signed the Bites, which is like hard rock from LA. I don't know if you know about them. They're on they're coming out. Album coming out in a couple of months, September. I signed them because unbelievably, they had 0 plays on Spotify. 0.
Wow.
0. I screenshotted it, going, no one will believe this, but this band gets really big. I want to show, this is a bit of a flex really, that like Earache can sign a band with 0 provable, because I've screenshotted it. It's not AI, it's not a mess picture. 0 plays on Spotify. You don't need any plays on Spotify to get signed to Earache. I just love the tracks. And they're cool to buy. Yeah.
Would they have gone through the live circuit, or have they gone straight to Spotify?
They were dominating the Hollywood live circuit.
Okay, right. So this is what I'm interested in. So there is still that combination of that sort of like packaged kind of live circuit, but it's not translated to streaming. So again, it's almost quite old school with its organic kind of live sort of. Not translated, but that you get the label behind it, and actually it translates, and almost kind of funnels it into that 30% streaming, 30% sales, 30% merchandise for a band like the Bites. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, well, I want to mention that that we're really rare at this A&R game now. This old school, it's quaint, it's literally medieval. I go to. Well, you've seen them in the clubs, right? And you went to see them play live, and it was like full of girls, which is like, that was a big point. So what are you? You're like, wow, this is like unusual. I mean, we're in the hard rock space right now, but we have been for 10 years. I just love hard rock. We switched from death metal and metal. I kind of got bored with it, really. It's explained in the book. One day we just went from death metal to thrash metal to Rival Sons, who play hard rock, and I love what they did. And we've got a good deal going. But every other label is signing on Chartmetric now, which is data-driven. I think you got to pay 200 quid a year or something like that, and you just see the graphs. I mean, I've been on it and seen the graphs of you can search for bands in a particular genre, and they go up and down, up and down, up and down, and then someone has a little spike, and then the labels jump in and make the offers and sign that way. I mean, we don't sign on any data whatsoever. Makes us really, really exceptionally either really dumb or
there's something sort of British underdog about it as well, though, Dig, innit? Because the world in which you're competing with, you have to muster the troops and say, we're gonna have the Bites compete with fucking this lot and this lot and this lot. We're not gonna play by their games. We're not gonna chuck a lot of money at Meta or Spotify we're going to do it exactly how we want to do it. And I think this is kind of the crux of the thesis Really, that was the point. It was, I think, I can't remember how I phrased it, but it was like you're picking a different battlefield than the rest of these companies. And as a consumer, I'm like, it's always in the back of my head, because you always have your little model label in the back of your head, like how you do it. And I'm like, right, well, all the money that you'd usually pay off influencers for, you should be going to Rock City and going, right, we want some grassroots presence in these sort of venues and blah, 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 blah. It's, again, that was, I'm going to ramble.
Yeah,
Al knows I ramble. Yeah, it's, yeah.
But yeah, I know what you mean. It's drum and bass night mostly, but yeah, or whatever, pop. But yeah. I mean, we do things differently. It's kind of cliche, very much so, but it's the truth, and it's kind of like it's actually what's kind of quite, this sort of what's interesting about it now. I mean, Earache's really successful nowadays. 2 number ones in the last 15 months. UK number ones. Yeah. Like that's no rock label's done that, as far as I know, in the last 15 months. That was Those Damn Crows and Skindred. April of each year, April 25, April 26. Yeah, we've got the trophies at the office to prove it, and mainly driven by the mailing list. I've got to say that's the secret if you want to know it. But it's kind of unsexy in a way. There was no influencers, there was no big plan. It's just people bought blue vinyl, then they bought an orange vinyl, then we persuaded them with a purpley spiral vinyl or something, and they all bought all lot of them. It's very. I've learned how over the years how to sell stuff, and then there's a CD, signed CD. Right now we're doing these CDR things, which really are CDR burns. We just felt tip on them. They go down great. We sell hundreds. And they just
but again, it's catering to the people who just don't care and just want the free Spotify stream. And then you've got the super fans who have to buy everything that's released.
Yeah. I mean, we pioneered this collector's bundles thing. You go on our website, it kind of looks insane, earache.com. If you go on Ricky Warwick or All the Bites or Tempest Movement, which are coming out later in this year. I mean, they've had a number 3 album, I can't think, a number 5 album in the past. We're going for the charts, top of the charts with that. I mean, there's a collector's thing, it's like 200 quid. 50 people buy that. 50.
Yeah.
No problem, 200 quid, no problem. It's got the green vinyl, the red vinyl, the white vinyl, the clear vinyl, Bosch. And we're like, wow, it's real numbers, they're not fake.
And you're appealing, you're reaching every sort of almost like economic kind of like band, where it's something for everybody. But
I think it's also like
$4.99, which goes really well as well. I mean, that's back to the $4.99 from the 90s that you mentioned.
That was what we talked about actually at the beginning of the last one. Is the pay no more than campaign, which was that helped me out as a kid on his paper round, and like £5 in my pocket, I could go buy myself, whatever, Napalm Death Records,
coffee or whatever, or well on the marketing. It's cheaper than a coffee. Help out the band. $4.99. Bosch. We sell thousands.
Yeah.
In 1 week. I mean, Skindred hit their number 1 album. They were number 2 on the album before, on Earache, but they sold 20,500 in the UK in a week. Jessie Ware was number 2. It was a real battle. She was also on Universal Distribution, I think. Yeah, on was it Island or something, like one of their main frontline labels. And we were like fighting within the same building, Universal building. Island on the 4th floor, Virgin, our distributors, on the 2nd floor. And we were kind of like, we weren't sure whether they'd let us win or not. It's a bit of politics at the very top level. That's a different world. It's a rarefied, it's Champions League level. It's kind of like, it's not normal music industry at that level. And we love the fact that we're signing a death metal band, albeit one that's got Taylor Swift credits, and Ghost, which is still a bit ridiculous. But and we're doing the back catalogue all the time. Carcass, Bowl Thrower, box sets now that sell thousands, instantly sell out. I mean, we're in a good space because our death metal that we did back in the day is now super trendy. Everywhere you look is, or not, spiky logos everywhere, and it's kind of like, I remember doing that, and we remember doing that, and it's.
I mean, I've definitely been saying that there are labels that follow Earache's kind of death metal model today and are doing very well, and they so like Profound Law, Transcending Obscurity, labels like that. They almost take the Earache blueprint. By the way. Yeah. I love what Transcending Obscurity put out. I think that's just Canal. It's just one guy, doing a great job. And so I'm always like, I don't think, to me, Earache don't need today to follow that death metal blueprint, because you've pioneered it, you've done it, you've pivoted, more successful than ever. I think it's more sort of in terms of like brand recognition. I'd say Earache is bigger than it's ever been, and I think it's great to hear that all of this stuff that happens is organic, and it's just essentially you pivoting from what you enjoy, and that machine is working, and where sort of Earache has pioneered the death metal. There's other labels that now for still extreme metalheads like me, there's stuff out there still, but Earache is still going strong, and it's still got that back catalogue.
When I want to give Al Dawson his props here, right? Because he gives me death metal tips all the time. I'm the one that rejects them. Blood Incantation, right? Tell that story. You told me you saw them play Blood Incantation. Dig, you need Blood Incantation. I checked it out, and I'm like, wasn't really feeling it. I'm kicking myself so big time that I missed out on Blood Incantation. I don't mind admitting it. Bad decision. Because I really, really like the way they mix the tangerine dreamy, what do you call it, proggy parts with the death metal. But Al Dawson, thanks for putting up with my... and you sent me an email, Blood Incantation. They just played Phoenix, 75 people. Keep an eye on them. Then
invite us in New York.
Was it invite us in New York? Then the next 6 months later, they just played to 300 people. Keep an eye on them. I'm like, nah, rubbish. So I take it on the chin. It's one of the regrets currently that we didn't get hold of them. And
they just played Pompeii last weekend.
I saw that. Yeah.
I've got
what a great band, but we don't get everything right.
I've got a little just a bit off your observation. It feels like the world was surrendering to the sexy people and racing to the bottom. Meanwhile, Earache have cultivated a different route to the market, and it is a direct route to the market, which is creating these number ones and this very, very tangible. It's like giving value to the original unit sold, instead of it being 200 streams for one unit, you're going back to it's money over the counter. But here's my question. This is a UK trajectory. What's the experience in the US for Al's sort of territory, for Al's stomping ground? Is it a different? Is the UK a hype market, and therefore we can get that momentum, and the US isn't? What is it?
I go back to 70s, 80s, actually even the 60s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. The British had weekly music papers, Sounds, Melody Maker, NME. Every week you have to find something to write about. So the British, in my mind, were always early adopters. And if you look at American artists, anything from Jimi Hendrix to the Stray Cats to Andrew WK to Nirvana, they broke in the UK before they broke in America, even though they're American artists. And because at that point, print media, before social media and everything else, America was all monthly magazines. So things move slower. Plus, America's is so much bigger than the UK. We were talking early on that we didn't have national radio until 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Where you guys had, other than the BBC, you had, Radio Caroline, the pirate radios in the 60s and what have you. And you could be just offshore and you could blast the entire UK with your little radio signal and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So here, it's a slower build. We did the first Bring Me the Horizon record. They were the first band we ever signed that had 1 million fans on MySpace. And we knew about the bots and the adders that add 1,000 people. We knew that it could be gamed. So we had internal discussions like, is it really 1 million? Is it, come on, what do you really got, 1,000 fans or whatever? And I saw them play live, and I wrote Dig that night going, Ollie's a star. These guys are going to blow up. First, the record came out, did a couple of hundred, and he's like, what the fuck? You said it was going to blow up. And it took 2 years, but we got to 100,000 units type of thing. But it was week after week after week. The second tour they did was the Vans Warped Tour, and I called the tour manager, how are you doing with merch? Yeah, 50,000. I'm like, 50,000 for the whole tour? Good job, buddy. He goes, no, that's a night. I'm like, what? And they were on their way at that point. When you do 50,000 a night in merch, you're never coming home. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, Ollie Sykes is a driven genius, really incredible, even early on. I mean, you can see them live. They played live. Most bands in the afternoon, they show up at a club and they go to the bar or something like that. They were really young at the time. And I've got, they're on Visible Noise in the UK. We did the license with them for the US. It was like 7 years. I wish I'd put 70 or whatever. I typed it out, put 7 years, like an idiot. But we'd still be doing it now. Like, duh. But then reverted and whatever, RCA. I mean, it's just got reissued, I think, as a revamped version. But yeah, but early on, they would just get to the venue, open the laptops, and there was MySpace, and just add. That's all they did. They were genuine collecting fans. They're doing what you do now on Instagram and try and get in a following. And they were just already tuned into that early on. I mean, they were very much. I remember Ollie Sykes had an electronic project. Can't remember the name of it now, and it was nearly as big as Bring Me the Horizon. That's got shelved somewhere. If someone can find it, it was Bring Me had like 2 million MySpace maybe, and then whatever the project was like 1 million, but it was literally electronic. I think he just dabbled in it. But yeah, I mean, it was a good time. MySpace era was quite cool. We enjoyed it. It was a new thing. We had to decipher who was on it. Job for a Cowboy were number one. Who else was it? Whitechapel probably. Blood Runs Black. Bring Me the Horizon about number 4. I mean, you could search it by by follow account. If you knew how to do it, you could game it and find out the player follow account of.
How do you sort of anticipate that Earache is going to navigate the AI world? Like, what's the next 5 years of kind of adaptation for Earache Records look like?
It's definitely in what we do. Fans and labels hate AI. Yeah. Right? It's like, AI slop, disgusting, whatever. But the fact is, it's the future. It's coming, or it's already here. How it's going to pan out, your guess is as good as mine. But as always, we've always, as Dick said, we were the second label to have a web store, a website, and everything. We've always embraced the technology. When what's the name? Spotify opened the stores. We're like, hey, we get it. We want to be part of it. I
mean, AI is a sort of a tricky subject right now. It's have you ever made an AI track yourselves? If you don't mind me asking.
I've tried to create a jingle for another podcast that I did, and I was actually surprised how good it was. So it's scary. Yeah, it is scary.
I've actually seen some ads on TV, like whether it's for cars or insurance or whatever. Spokesperson, blah 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 blah, and then you go, wait a minute, that's not an actor, it's AI.
That's right. Yeah.
Right. So it's getting to the point where you can't tell.
We decided as a label we're not releasing anything AI at all. They're not releasable.
Yeah.
It's a joke. It's a slop. It's a nonsense. It's taking a job from a true creative. All Earache art is physically created by a human at earache.com at our office, and that's all. It'll always be like that. We might do AI things to send each other a couple of ideas. Like the other day, we're releasing a beer next month. Earache 40th beer called Blast Beat beer, and it's not gonna be the biggest trooper or whatever, but it's just by a local firm that are two streets away from us called Neon Raptor. They approached us actually, but I just wanted to see I wanted a picture of a bottle of a glass of beer with a foam head on it.
Yeah.
Actually, I just got AI to make one because I wanted to put Blast Beat on it, and it was kind of like just went around a staff. We didn't get released publicly, but just
I make a little merch recommendation? Earache beer tankard, pint glass.
Yeah. We don't have it etched glasses maybe, but it's coming out in cans. There's full alcohol, 6% it is, ABV, and then there's also for people like me that don't drink anymore, the zero. I love alcohol, zero alcohols. So we're doing a zero alcohol one as well called Blast Beat.
Oh, good.
One thing I'd say about the AI component is it's an admin tool. It's nothing else. So
we don't do any artwork. It's
just. I think the big thing we're going to see in the UK specifically is that PRS black spot, like all the small venues that don't report any of the PRS plays. I think that's all of a sudden going to start materializing, and there's hopefully there's going to be a little bit more in the pickup on the collections part. But that's like one particular AI function being delivered in a very particular way and having a downstream effect. I think it's more in that world. I think if anyone is worth the salt, they'll do what you're saying there, Dig, in the sense of, in an authentic world, you don't use AI for output. It's just admin.
I mean, there is meant to be, there's another scoop for you now. I think Universal are releasing an app called Starstruck at some point, an AI app that's like legal. And I mean, Universal sort of sued all these companies, Udio, Suno, 11 Labs escaped all that. They're the only honest AI company, because they specialize in AI voiceovers.
Right.
So they didn't really just scrape all the music. If you look at this, what's it called? Sleeping.disco on the dark web, which is kind of like where they hid all the 9 million tracks that they trained the data on. Mm-hmm. But back to Universal, the Starstruck app is meant to be like Cameo, I think, where you can, you know what Cameo is? Where you can sing along. Someone like Taylor Swift, I don't know if Taylor Swift's involved, probably not, but you can have an artist who agrees to be AI, the voice, sing you happy birthday or something, or happy birthday or Merry Christmas, or pay like $3 for the privilege, and you get a little dick from your favorite singer. No one yet knows yet whether that's AI slop or whether it's like the artists have consented, so it's okay, and you don't have to buy it if you want a little birthday, happy birthday to you, sung by your favorite singer. And if they paid $3 for it, it might be a $6 million a year earnings for somebody. Unbelievable.
I was going to say, like, is that potentially another revenue stream for an artist? You're like, well, actually, I'm willing to license my voice for this type of stuff. So, you know, it's another potential revenue stream in people's bows. It's an unknown. It's a Wild West. Nobody knows yet what's going to settle on. But what I'm interested in, I've spent a few times looking at the AI creator community. There's loads of them out there. I mean, they're all guys that were like in a band once, played a guitar, whatever, never made it. They're now like 40s, kids, family. And they literally, you know, it's all on YouTube. And they go, I want to be I could have made it back then, but I've got the tools now. The AI tool, Udio. Prompts are my instrument now. I want a drum beat like that. I want to, one of my favorite artists this year is an AI artist, believe it or not, that's making 80s soft rock, synthy soft rock. It's fucking killer.
I had a Uber ride last time. It was Hollywood, and you know, I like to think I know a fair bit about classic rock or whatever. And every song was like, "Is that so and so?" Like, who, you know, is that so and so? And when we got to the end of my ride, he pulls up his phone. He goes, "What do you think of the music?" I said, "Oh yeah, pretty good." And he goes, "It's all AI." It was like female artists, male artists, Bob Seger sound-alikes, but I couldn't place any of them, and this whole playlist was AI artists. But it sounded real.
I much prefer when bands try for it. Like October Noir is a typo successor. There's a band, I think they're called 1976, which is literally a Kiss mimic band. They don't do any Kiss songs. They just go, we're pretty much just doing kind of Destroyer era Kiss sounding songs. All original. But yeah, I think there's something within me that just connects with it a bit quicker. Although I do like some of the AI stuff, like I like Pixel and chiptune and things like that. And when people do like reinterpretations of songs with these different styles, yeah, fine. But I'm not going out and buying the vinyl.
Right.
No, we're not signing. We're not signing any AI. We're not. But we're ready to pounce if any AI takes off and gets public approval. To be honest, that's our stance really on it. We're ready and waiting for something to catch on that the public approve of. I mean, right now it's like AI stop. It's bullshit. Full stop. Which I agree with. We won't be using it. We won't be doing anything. But if you delve into the AI creator community, they're just guys making music that, to them, it's like what used to be a drum machine or a synth. Or Kemper profiling guitar tones or whatever that were modern a few years back. They were like, modern technology enables me to make the track I always wanted to make. And they're not ashamed of going. That's what's weird about that community. They're not ashamed at all. They're all very supportive of each other, going, we made these tracks by AI, what do you reckon? And they're yeah, fair play to them if they want to do that. That's good luck to them. But we won't be signing any of that. I mean, I'm sure people are sending us AI tracks now. Possibly, must be. I don't know if we have to keep a special ear out for that. We probably will be on the receiving end of that because was it Diesel say like 50% of all? For some reason, it's Diesel that give all the details away, not Spotify. I don't know, but 50% of all tracks uploaded now are AI, so they say, something like that. And I think they must have not very good, strong guardrails or whatever. So they're probably getting a lot of AI tracks uploaded that way.
I saw it. Yeah, there was a brief period with Spotify with a lot of AI. They were connecting themselves to existing bands, and so you'd think there was like a new down track, and actually it was just some whatever. There were some interesting ones that you were like bands that had been dormant for years suddenly had seemingly released something, and you're like, well, it's just complete and utter. Just AI slot. But I think Spotify has seemingly cracked down on that for now. So
I think something's happened in distribution world, hasn't it? So I think Believe have like restructured to have like an AI sort of like threshold, so nothing gets in, and on the TuneCore side, and DistroKid have just sold a major stake to someone else who has a history of AI. So I think on the distribution side, you're going to have this kind of like, all right, well, we're going to see what's going to work. Is it going to be the gate-kept, no AI side, or is it going to be the DistroKid opening the door side? I need to look into this more. It's one of my little topics for maybe in a couple of weeks.
The key thing on AI from the label side of things, and from the artists, the IP side that we control, because we have the record label for a lot of artists, and we control the music, is attribution is the word. When people make AI tracks, the attribution of what it's a bit of Metallica, a bit of a snare drum from Motley Crue. I don't know what this statistical soup comes up with, and I try and delve into the actual maths of AI as well. It's quite an interesting subject with the transformers and all that, and but they can't quite spit out the attribution that went into making the track yet.
Yeah.
But once they crack that, there's going to be a payday for artists, a big payday, because then people will pay $3 to make an AI track. They're proud as punch of it. It's their creation. But whatever the underlying music came from, the drum beats, the guitar tone or whatever, or the vocal, which you can't quite tell at the moment, although sometimes you can, the original artist will get paid. That's the nirvana, that's the heaven moment of AI.
Yeah.
When
that synth track similar to how Napster was a free-for-all, and then iTunes and Spotify came along, and all of a sudden bands were getting rewarded for streaming, sort of thing.
Yeah.
It took a few years to catch up.
Yeah. But don't forget, Spotify started from it was a torrent, right? It was uTorrent, I think it was called, run by, can't remember what the fella is, the founder.
Daniel Ek.
Yeah, Daniel Ek, I think that was his torrent site. It was illegal streaming. But then he went legal and just immediately got deals with the labels for Spotify to be legally streaming stuff. It came out after Apple, a few years after. I mean, Apple was downloads, but Spotify was streaming. And so they went legit, and I think they're now obviously super, super legit in all aspects. But they, I think they're banning AI tracks at the gates until there will be deals done where you can find the attribution. That's the key word. When artists get paid for their little statistic that went into the making of the track, no one can figure it out. The maths can't be reverse engineered. I don't know why. They are too complicated. But I think what they want is access to the prompts. So people see the prompts, like, make me a track like Metallica, but a bit of Motley Crue, glam rock, and then they will get paid based on the prompts, I think. But then that all depends if the fans actually even want to hear it or not.
But there's another side. I don't know if it's happening in the UK, but it's definitely happening here. There's a whole generation of younger kids, like say 16, 17 to 21, who it's called the analog revolution. They're going back to CDs. They're going back to DVDs. They're cutting off. They're canceling the Netflix. They're buying trucks and cars that are say 2013, where there's less. There's no like gigantic computer screens in the car sort of thing. Like they're trying to get away from all the digitization. So
that's a mega trend. Yeah. I've got staff at Earache that buy old iPods with like 300 tracks on, because they don't want to pay Spotify $12.99 a month, or whatever. They'd rather have the tracks they want to hear. That's a major trend, and well said. It's basically analog. No one wants to be surveyed fucking time by all these fucking apps and shit. And I think that'll go down really well if you want to just do an analog thing that just has your album on it. I mean, we do USB sticks, believe it or not, in that endeavor a little bit. It's a digital product, but it's yours.
Sure, Beardo's probably bought some.
Yeah, there'll definitely be one in there, back there.
I see it, mate. I see it there. Right there.
I'm just waiting for my wall of CDs to appreciate in value. You know, that's my pension back there. So 50% of it's probably Earache Records stuff as well. So
of course.
Yeah, it looks good.
Thank you.
I used to have the same, but I moved and it all just put in back boxes and chucked in the garage. Yeah, I wish. I had a collection still, but I've still got it somewhere. And all the master tapes and all that shit. But they're all good. Yeah, so I really enjoyed it. Just I wanted to join you guys. Sorry for butting in at the last minute.
This has been great. I
wish I had more questions.
I just appreciate the fact that you were, okay with our pivots that we used to do, because out there, Earache went shit, and Earache went shit for that, and went hard rock, and that was shit. And
this came from me and Jim just having a few beers at we went to see Acid Bath a few weeks back, and we started talking about the business side of things, like with Jim's documentary and stuff, and I said about Earache, about I don't think people really understand. You get the metalheads who like you say, you're like, oh fucking hell, they don't do death metal anymore. But I'm always interested in the actual how the business side of it, and you've survived, you're still independent, your brand awareness is bigger than ever, and there's still space for it, and that's really what we wanted to explore, and that's why last week we just kind of conversed between Jim and myself, and then ours got the invite to sort of check our homework and kind of have that conversation with us. For yourself to join as well, Dig, is really sort of, close the loop, and has been great. So
I appreciate it, Lord.
It has to be helped a lot. That was a big deal for us. I don't know if you noticed that. We brag about it a lot in the book. It's got its own chapter that we basically blagged our way into Glastonbury to do a metal stage, and they accepted it. We were like, wow. I mean, I don't know if you've been there. It's got like 100 stages. It's obviously the foremost festival in the UK. And only the main stages, the Pyramid and all that, and the other stage have cameras for the BBC coverage. And there's more esoteric stages, and it's so independent, still run by the founder, Michael Eavis, and his daughter Emily. And he came to see. We had a band called Blackberry Smoke that were an American country sort of rock, southern rock. Brilliant band, and brilliant band that they played Glastonbury. And we went on to see them. And but we were backstage hanging out, and Michael Eavis showed up before they went on stage, backstage, and we grabbed him. We were like, fucking hell. We went straight in, like, why don't you have a stage for metal? And he goes, the flashes that I've had Metallica play, Motorhead. I'm like, okay, yeah. He knows his stuff. But like, we want to put more metal on Glastonbury. Why don't you help us out? And it's like, you're meant to be a festival of the creative arts or whatever, and performing arts, and you're missing a whole genre.
Yeah.
He has had Metallica and Motorhead and many metal bands. It was a bit of a mistake, but he took us under his wing. He was like, all right then, and he introduced us to the Shangri-La stage, Chris Tofu and all those guys that are like literally they're very independent festival scene, and they took us under their wing as well, and they let us put on Napalm Death and Wormrot and Extreme Noise Terror and a band called Horror we put on as well for something a bit different, and they gave us a tube train, because it's all about recycling. There was no, it rolled in on a wagon and it rolled out again. It was incredible. It was net zero. It had no impact on the planet that we had to stage there, because the venue was already built and it rolled in and rolled out. And clever thinking like that, which I appreciate and agree with in a way. So that was good. I mean, seeing Napalm Death play Glastonbury was wild, and so that helped us. And also, let's put Earache on it. But actually, they stopped us the next year because they thought, we shouldn't really be having brands. This would be full of Carling or fucking Tuborg. So it was called Scum after that. So we changed the name to Scums because they're correct. We don't allow brands at Glastonbury. Fair enough. Fair enough. I think they had the Rizzler stage one year and it went down badly apparently because it's a charity festival. Literally all the money goes to Oxfam, WaterAid and Greenpeace. They get like 2 million quid each on the Monday. That keeps them going for a year. And it's genuinely true. I mean, fair play to Michael Evers for that. So, I mean, that helped our awareness a bit. We were mingling with the Glastonbury lot and we're doing, there's no Glastonbury this year, but there's Boomtown. They let us put a stage on with metal bands. It's 2 weeks' time, I think, in Boomtown. That's near Winchester down south. I don't know if you've ever been to Boomtown. It's mostly drum and bass and dance music orientated, all different types of techno and all sorts. Niche is reggae as well, drum and bass music in general. And they've got a metal stage that we're running. We've got some really underground bands on that, bands like Hyphen, people like that. So, a few years ago, we put on Bob Dylan and Kneecap on Glastonbury. Not the year that they went controversial. 2 years before that, actually. So that was fun. But, we curate for Stone Dead Festival now in Newark. We've actually built another little niche brand where we're actually asked to curate places. And we love that because it's like, wow, I don't have to do anything. It's just
it's all about servicing the fans. It's about giving the fans what they want,
Yeah, because it's kind of we become known as the police. If you want to, we have a bit of a handle on the pulse of what's happening with music a little bit. Say that again. I mean, that's all we do all day is fucking chart what's going where. But with Organic Weed, we don't chart data, which is what everybody else does. But
I think the thing is that sort of the through line is the human element of it, which is the enthusiasm plus the know-how plus finding the right people, which I find is the most difficult thing, right? Finding other nut jobs like yourself who are going to be part of that pushing the boulder up the hill. You know what I mean? This is when we were talking about the business stuff with Beardo the other week. It was like the signal path between me and you, Dig, is probably really short, but it took so many. It took so many things to happen in '86. It took Alan Becker and IRD. It took all the other stuff on the way. It took all these things to sort of accumulate. But it was just all the right people in the right place, just pushing in one direction where there was kind of no right to do so because there was no infrastructure. I'm not trying to take it back to the 80s. I'm just saying the reason that we're not slagging anyone off about the pivots and things is because it's so fucking delicate anyway. The core actual output and message is it's a community of people that only like authentic typically guitar oriented music. That's the North Star, and it doesn't matter how you fucking get there. And this is coming from the guy who's doing the documentary on the Nickelback label. It doesn't matter how you fucking get there. You just get there, and it's just the thing I find just totally fascinating. It's how you're finding the enthusiasm in other people, and you can tell it within the language and the vocabulary and the energy in which they're delivering the message. And that's how you've ended up with 2 number ones in the last 15 fucking months, because you just keep going and you're picking your battles on the things that you can back. You're not picking things because, right, it's the right thing to do. You're picking things because you can wake up on a Monday morning and go, fuck yeah, let's keep going. And that's what everyone wants in their own lives. So it baffles me when it just baffles me when you have these situations like when we're I call it surrendering to the sexy people, when you have labels throwing money at Spotify because they think it's the right thing to do. It's not the right thing to do, really. You want to be trying to getting a more organic and natural commercial positioning and push forward in that way. Anyway, that's my rant over. And that's why
I wanted to join the podcast is to jump on there, because I want to show. I mean, I'm as passionate about the music as I was when I started. It's like ridiculous, really. I put my staff are like, I was there all day today in the office. Just come back home and saw the podcast was on, so asked me to join. But all day today, what have we been doing today? Trading cards. We're working on stuff for Earache 40. The new bands we're signing. We got all the. I mean, when we charted the Skindred album at number 1, that was all. There's like 12 of us. It's still about a dozen of the staff.
Yeah.
compared to Island Records, probably like 400, which were Jesse Ware's label. But we were like working our socks off all day and all night, monitoring the sales on our store. And I think we did something like 350 per hour of Skindred in the last day. And then we beat Jesse Ware at the end. But everyone was hands on deck, because we literally, the label and the shipper of the goods, all in one building, and the digital, we do our own digital as well. Don't trust anybody with it. Of course we do our own digital. That's in-house. And so it's all self-contained. That's why we can control it, and we're passionate about it. And then Jesse Ware's label you have till midnight on Thursday to get the week charts in. And then we heard Jesse Ware's label went home at 5 o'clock because of Universal. So they go. So we were still working from 5 till midnight to get extra sales in for Skindred. And also Skindred were playing Leeds, Beckett, SU at the time on the Thursday night. They were playing a gig there, and it was wild. I think we live streamed it a bit. People just buying 20 records. And we saw our store 20 records. I don't think that's allowed. I think there's multiple purchasers are allowed, but they were taking a hit. This Benji was going, we want to be number one from the stage. And I need all you in the front row to buy my album now. So they all got their phones out, and they were like, blah, 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 blah. Prove it. We've got Earache.com. We just bought it. And I think we sold about 1,000 in Leeds alone on that day. But it was counted to the chart. But it was pretty obsessive behavior, to be honest. We were, the reason we got the number one was because we were obsessed about the number one. We wanted it more. We didn't just fancy a number one. We were obsessed about getting it. And we'll probably, I don't know what our next number one will be. I don't know yet, but it'll be, timing is a big part of it as well. There has to be a soft chart week. If you're at this top level, it's always Olivia Dean, Gracie Abrams, Madonna, who's the other one? Mumford & Sons. They're just household names. Harry Styles. So that was, one of the most proudest things was in our 40th year to have 2 number ones in the UK is kind of quite fitting.
And it matters though, Dig, because you can fucking do it, it turns out.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
I mean, it turns out all you gotta do is give enough of a fuck and get the right people to give enough of a fuck, and you can work till midnight, and you can fucking keep dominoes in business.
It's simple like that. Yeah, we know the business now. I mean, if you look at our Wikipedia, there's a bit of hate on there, but at the very bottom we've got like all of our chart positions on the list, and we've now got. I mean, we've worked our way up. We had like 33 in the charts, Goodbye June, or 27 in the charts, Massive Wagons. They were a great band. Or Crow's first album, like 16 in the charts. And then we've actually wormed our way up to like 6 in the charts, 5 in the charts. The last Skindred was 2 in the charts. So we've actually earned our stripes here. And I think we have this weird sort of bingo game at Earache now, where we've got like 1 to 40 covered with a few missing. So actually one at 27 in the charts or a 38 just to complete the set. So
you got the full 40, yeah.
Earache will finish when I have the number 1 to 40 full set, and I'll be like, see ya, sayonara, goodbye. Because I remember you saying that. What's the Earache retirement plan? I mean, yeah, that's kind of what made me join, really. I ain't retiring.
That could be a good segue to sort of final points. Like what do you think the retirement plan of Earache might be? Like.
It's a really good question, and it's hard to answer. I don't know. There isn't one. I still enjoy music too much. Dawson gave the right answer. Just keep going till the wheels fall off. Till there's something happen. We do. I don't know. We do okay. We do okay. Everybody's okay. I think bands are happy. The bands come and go. I haven't sold out yet. No one's ever made me an offer. Hint, hint.
That's good. That was my question earlier. So.
If you put enough numbers on an email, as long as it's 9 digits or how many, 10 digits, I can't remember. As long as it's lots of digits, give me an email, and I'll get back to you on it. But Iron Maiden sold out recently, half of a catalogue to Pop House. Pop House is an interesting thing, right? That's a Swedish, what do they call them? Venture capital thing.
Yeah. Private equity.
We covered that, didn't we? Yeah.
I've got theories on this. Yeah.
So. on this podcast, I missed that. Sorry.
No.
Okay. But it's on Benny from ABBA owns it. And they did the Avatar show of ABBA. And they bought the rights to Kiss, the full rights, including Avatar rights, and Avicii as well, who's a Swedish artist.
Yeah.
Techno died, passed away. So I think their family sold it to Pop House. But what a great little label Pop House is. It's got Iron Maiden. Fucking Maiden, man. I'm like, wow.
The key thing with Maiden is they didn't just buy the songs; they bought Eddie and all the imagery that comes with it.
Are we going to get into this? We'll be up all night if you get me started on this.
Let's hear it.
Right. So, okay, so the big theory is Paul Di'Anno dies in October 2024. They haven't sold publishing or anything up to this point. They've been an insular, you know how the Iron Maiden guys are. But all of a sudden, as part of like the probate and equity, Rod and Steve have to start having conversations about, well, what's the value of the publishing? Because Paul's name's on a few of these things, and that needs to go through probate. This starts the question of like, right, well, what is the estate planning component? And my only evidence to that of that is October 2024, Paul passes. June 2025, on Company's House, Steve is no longer a person of significant control of Iron Maiden holdings. So that's obviously when this deal is in this is starting to happen. So I've been texting around the last week and asking people, like, could the Kiss deal was 300 million. Pop House raised 1.2 billion a few years back, and at the time of the Maiden deal they had 840 million to play with. So that's the ceiling. They haven't paid 840 million for 50% of Maiden, but I think they've paid more than 300 million for 50% of Maiden, which is more than they paid for Kiss. Because Kiss, I think Kiss is a wider brand but a thinner brand, right? They've got things everywhere. They've got toys. They've got every kind of merchandising thing available, but no one's buying the Hello Kitty Kiss range anymore. Whereas Eddie's still he's still going. It's got plenty of years still on it. So I think they're going, right, you know what? We're taking a year off. Let's get some estate planning in place. Nico's got his bit as well. So there's once we've now got a number, cash value for the publishing, for the masters, for everyone's contributions to this band, everyone knows where they stand from this point if they want to retire. And also, if Pop House, because it's a private equity thing, Pop House now need to make good on that 1.2 billion. So they need to increase the value of that 50% and give it back within 10 years. So whatever they've got planned, they've got to start doing it quickly. And this is the interesting thing, because Maiden, they already have a lot of digital things. They had their own games, their own apps, their own digital experiences. They owned that. So that now they're not divesting interest to someone else because it's 50%. So they still have to be the ones to say, oh, you want to do a haunted house experience? Send me an email on Monday and I'll ask the boys. They still have to go through that process. So I think it's partially estate planning. I reckon maybe in 7 years' time you'll find out there'll be a headline saying Steve Harris buys 50% back off Pop House or whatever it is. But I think it's all stemmed from Paul passing and the need to establish a cash value to the publishing. And then it was just conveniently they wanted the year off and they wanted to start talking about these things. Over to you guys.
Oh, interesting. Honestly, no, that was education for me. Honestly, we're just music people, honestly, simple music people. I wish I knew more about that venture capitalist world. I'd be interested in it. We've never dabbled. I don't know anything about it. I just read these stories like you do. I'm like gobsmacked. Kiss sold their thing. I mean, a bit of trivia for you. The death metal band that we're doing out of Sweden, the main guy has contributed to the new Kiss album. I'm not giving away too many secrets. That's going to be with the Avatar show in Vegas in 20. So that's how we know about that. But it's a great explanation. Yeah, you should. Well,
the thing is, though, and this is the whole thing with the Earache thing we've just been doing. I just go off on one educated guesses because I know one day Rod Smallman's going to email me and say you're full of shit. It's this. That's what happened with the Roadrunner documentary. I just went, oh yeah, you know what? You tried to create a thrash metal factory, and Monty Connor rings me and says, no, Scott Burns and Morrison were just the cheapest ones and the ones that were available. And all of a sudden, it's Cunningham's law. Just get it wrong, and then eventually people will come in and correct you.
Did Monty tell you about that time I met Monty in London, that early on? Earache was blowing up very early on, and I gave him a tape that had Amon on it that became Deicide. We signed him Mary Les, but he signed Deicide from that, but we already got Morbid Angel. The early death metal was, I shunned all the shuns as they go. Immolation, Incantation, Suffocation, Mortician, shunned, a lot of them. So that's your quote for the headline. You'll should. But yeah, I didn't really like them. We had Morbid Angel, and that was it. And the only band I wished I'd signed was Death. I really like Death, but we never really got a chance to get in. They were always on Combat or on, what were they on after that? I can't remember. Sort of Metal Blade. I can't remember. So
they went around.
Roadrunner for a couple of
Roadrunner, of course, yeah.
The Roadrunner for Symbolic and that one, that was it. And it was a license from Relativity as well.
And the sure way to cause ructions in the scene is go after somebody else's band when they're on a label. I mean, these are watertight contracts, as are ours, thank God. That's why 40 years later, we're still doing them. But that's a no-no. We've never done that, of trying to nick other people's bands. That's just because we don't want the aggro, really. And, we respect other labels' contracts. So that's why, we've got to get in early to get any bands nowadays, really, or even back then. Labels are all over the place. But, yeah, it's fascinating here. We talk about the venture capital stuff. We did it, Bitcoin, we did a little bit of that one time. Did you hear about that? That little era we did. We made a Pro coin. Earache made its own digital currency in 2018, something like that, very early on. I was interested in that, and we made 1 million Crow coins. They were on the Ethereum blockchain, and we gave them to fans as free tokens that generated a lot of buzz for those damn Crows. Because when I met the band, after I just signed them, I think Bitcoin was in the news, and the singer and the bass player, Lloydie, like, Bitcoin, we want to get into Bitcoin. It's just a casual word they said. And I'm a bit of a nerd at heart, very much so. And I'm reading about Bitcoin, and you can make your own Bitcoin, clone. And we did that. I had Richard at the Earache office.
We did the racing game. Remember the racing game?
I do, yeah. Earache Extreme Racing, yeah. That
was a wild one. That was incredible. We're still the only label, apart from Def Jam, to have a label game on Sony PlayStation 2 it was. That came from a guy knocked on our door one time called Fraser.
Fraser Nash.
Fraser Nash.
Yeah.
He had a Black Sabbath t-shirt on, a sort of 30s longish hair guy, and he knocked on our door in Nottingham, and he goes, "I've come from Birmingham because my daughter says I've got to talk to you about a video game." We're like, "Okay, sit down." And we had a chat with him. He's like, "Right then, I think it's MD Games, what it's called, on the back of the thing when you open it up." The name of the games company, but we were like, "My daughter says I've got to do a death metal themed, gothic-y themed racing game. We've already got this game, which was already out actually, and they re-skinned it and re-badged it, and we put all the death metal in there, Akakaka, Deicide, and all that, to please his daughter. She was about 16 at the time. I mean, I think she's credited. Sky Nash was her name, so she was really influential on that. And we were. Cool. It took about a year to make. It's a fucking long old time. Had to go through Sony, PlayStation testing and approvals all the way. Even though it's good, I think the blood had to be green, not red when you run people over. The zombies on the racing side, and yeah, it was great. It came out, and we were the last. I think we were the last game to be released on PlayStation 2 before PlayStation 3 came out. So it's only 2,000 games on PlayStation 2. I mean, on PlayStation 5 now, but it was a good, fun project. Yeah, I mean, there's a new guitar game coming out called Stage Tour, run by Gibson. Like we did, there was Guitar Hero and Rock Band back in the day. You can search it. It's already announced and coming out, I think, September. A guitar game. We're on that. We've got loads of bands on that. Loads. So it's
as like a video game person myself, I think like the indie scene of like PC games is like undertapped for licensing opportunities. I think like there should be like your resident nerd in every label just going through every single game as they would be doing on a Saturday night anywhere, and reaching out to find certain opportunities because they're there. They're definitely there.
I'm not a massive gamer, but we do connect with the gamers community and the sort of the people involved with the games. I mean, this guy was a metalhead, Fraser Nash, and he had Black Sabbath t-shirt, and I come from Birmingham, and I'm also a game developer, and we wanted to make this metal-themed, extreme metal one. It had a bit of gothic in it as well. I think that's why we put Akakaka in there, because his daughter was a bit goth, so we were like, we had to go that direction as well. We didn't really have any goth bands, but I think Decapitated were on it. I think we made Decapitated music the lead of the game. I can't remember the loading music or something, but that was fun. That made them quite popular. And it's good fun. We just dabble in whatever. A lot of it's just serendipity. They come knocking on our door. They're in the inbox. We think it's a good thing. We get involved with it, and it's got to be fun as well. To be honest, at this stage, we're not.
Of course, yeah.
Not really chasing just the new Trivium or whatever. Or no offense to Trivium or the new Sleep Token. Although obviously we never had any chance with Sleep Token. We didn't know anything about them. Fair play to the labels that did. Electric Callboy, we did the debut album in the US and the UK, was it? It was on a German label called Redfield. I mean, they're now huge, presumably download headliners at some point, but not yet. But
didn't they headline 2 years back?
Or Electric Callboy, or not download, or maybe a second stage.
Feels like
when we did them back in the day. I mean, they mixed techno with heavy riffs. They were kind of cool, but yeah, could talk all day. Yeah, can't we?
I know.
I think
Al's got a day job to get to, hasn't he?
All right, okay. No, I just wanted to chime in. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, by all means.
It's been. I've loved absolutely every minute of it. I could sit here listen to it all day as well. We'll have to do a part two. We'll have to do a part two.
Yeah, it'll be part 3 now because we did the part 1 last week.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
No, well, this is what it's about. It's like this is a platform for discussing this kind of stuff.
Does it go? How many watching? I can't
fuck
see
all.
it.
No one watches this. It birthed many things in my life, but it hasn't broken through in the conventional podcast space. So
you know about 2. 4.
We're starting organically. This is DIY. You know,
there we go.
We're climbing up to our number 1 as well.
We should start a mailing list.
Yeah.
Right.
That should be good. Hopefully it'll go viral, won't it? I'm sure I said something that's going to inflame the metal community. He said that at 45 minutes of the blah blah.
Yeah, we'll wait until we can clip the TikTok moments from this, and we'll see what virality we can create. So
how dare they say so and so?
You're worse.
Yeah.
Hit me like Dig from Earache says the fucking AI is the future. I never said that.
Right, chaps. Beauty sleep.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you so much. This has been ace.
Everybody.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thanks, lads.
See you, mate.
It's all right.
Bye.
That was fun, wasn't it? Oh, fucking hell. If I gave shit about like virality moments, I would be like, let's package that and give it to Borovoy. We'll see if anyone pops up. Roll the credits. I've already put the credits on. No one can hear us talk if it's too loud. It may be too loud, so no one can hear us talking. Let's clock off and